If you love the Two Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.
What about someone like, I don't know, Pythagoras?
Pythagoras?
Yeah. Was he a genius?
I didn't even know he existed. I thought he was a mathematical equation. I don't like being portrayed as an idiot.
This is TalkSport. I'm Mike Graham. It's time to say a very good morning. And after a fantastic performance by both Manchester clubs, a very good morning to Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very good morning, Mr. Parry.
Well, yes, but what is the word this morning, Mike?
What is the word?
Well, come on, I keep telling you this. It happens 12 times a year. What is the word?
Oh, you're not going to do that rabbits thing, are you?
It's rabbit. It's October the 1st, isn't it?
Isn't that going to get a bit old?
Oh, wabbit, 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 wabbit.
Why do you have to do it every single time?
Because I catch you out. Because you see, you're
You didn't catch me out that time, did you?
I certainly did.
It's just not very interesting.
I certainly did. I had to give you a huge hint as to what the day was all about.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Well,
can't
it's
you?
the 1st of October, so what?
Yeah. Well, listen. Don't you realise that in the old, mythical calendar invented by the Romans
Yeah.
and perpetuated by the Native American, that the first day of every month was always a holy day?
Was it?
It was an opportunity for a new harvest.
Yeah,
and,
right.
and,
But
and
we don't live now in those times, do we? It's now 2015.
And new opportunities, new weather bands, new weather vanes, new romances.
So what are you going to do then on the 1st
new
of the
gods.
month? What do you do?
I'll be taking a long walk over the North Downs.
A long walk?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
To think.
You do that every day?
No, I need thinking time, and
Really?
I'll be thinking things through.
Well, you'll be making yourself a cup of coffee.
Sorry, what's...
Well, before you go on your long walk.
What sort of question is that?
Well, because I've discovered something this evening
What's
which
that?
is slightly disturbing.
What's that?
Last week you admitted to me that you don't make coffee or tea for anybody else.
No, I don't.
Because you don't wish to be taken advantage of, right?
No, that's exactly right.
So, what is this?
Well, that's my personal property.
I should describe it to people who obviously can't see it since we're on the radio as a jar of coffee mates.
Yes, coffee mate, yeah.
Which, one, is very, very bad for you.
No, it's not.
And two,
It's good for you.
I found lurking by the kettle.
No,
So
it's
you've
mine.
now brought
Can
in
I
your...
have that back,
no, you
please?
can't have it back. You brought in your own coffee
I
mate.
want it back.
Why do you want it back? Why do you want it back?
Thank you, because that's my property.
So you brought in your own coffee mate.
I did bring my own coffee
£1.69
mate.
it
Yes.
says on the top.
Yes, that's right.
Where'd you buy that then?
I bought that in a cost-cutter store.
Did you?
Yesterday
Did you
morning.
push your way to the front of the queue while you did that?
No, I bought a croissant.
Croissant.
Prior to appearing on Mr. Brazil show to review the papers, with Al and Ray Powell.
Oh, yeah.
And I decided that after multiple requests to the management
Why
at
don't you just use
TalkSport...
milk like everybody else?
No. After multiple requests to the management at TalkSport...
So you not want to use the milk that everybody else uses?
I don't mind using milk, but I prefer coffee. I prefer cream in my coffee.
Well, it's not cream, it's powder.
No, you don't understand. It's actually...
It's powder.
No, it's cream.
It's powder.
It's powderised cream.
It's powder.
It's powderised cream. Well, don't
It's
you remember
powder.
during the war, my mother used to
No,
tell
I
me...
don't remember during the
they
war.
Had powdered eggs.
No, I didn't live during the war.
No, my mother did. They had powdered eggs, right? They had powdered milk, and this is powdered cream.
No, that doesn't mean it was a good thing.
Now, the reason
The
why...
war was many years ago, right?
Actually, I can quite...
65 years ago, was it?
I can be grateful to you for rescuing this because in
you
that
think
kitchen...
you'd lost it?
Well, not only that, I'd forgotten to put it there, and I'm not letting anybody else use it at all, because you know what'll happen? Some slob, right, will stick a spoon that's impregnated with coffee or tea into my coffee mate container, take a scoop out, but leave the remnants of their filthy coffee or tea off the spoon.
You really are quite extraordinary.
No, they will, and what will happen is, next time I come
So
to
you're
open
going to carry it in and out of the place, are you?
I carry it around in my bag.
Yeah.
Carry it around in my bag. Next
That's
time I
pathetic.
come to open it, I'll look at it, and instead of looking at it as though it was the Dulux painted top of a mountain in France, the sort of mountain
top's
that
red, isn't it?
Mr.
Colour's the
Brazil
top.
used to ski on. No, when you open it, it's cream, right?
It's not cream, it's white powder.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's white powder. So when I open it, I want to see white powder. I don't want to see bits of brown coffee,
Pathetic.
Coagulated
enough.
into it.
It's bad enough.
Nobody else is allowed
It's
to
bad
use it.
enough that you don't reciprocate and make people cups of tea
And
or
this
coffee.
is just a warning. This is
now,
a warning.
why don't you bring your own tea in as well, then?
This is just a warning to anybody in this building.
Why don't you bring your own coffee in as well?
If I see anybody, honestly, dipping a spoon into my coffee mate pot, you're for it. I'm telling you, I won't have it because I have to maintain standards in life, and I'm not having people sharing my coffee mate jar. If I see you with it, there's trouble, pal.
Why don't you bring in your own coffee then?
Well,
You don't mind using everybody else's coffee?
No, I don't mind using the Nescafe coffee. That's communal
Well, that might
coffee.
be full of filthy spoons as well.
Well, I was going to get a clean spoon when I use when I start.
Well,
making
good luck
the coffee.
finding a clean spoon in this place.
No, I clean it myself. I get the boiling water machine and
Yeah.
I put it under
The
there
boiling
for 30
water
seconds.
machine?
We've got
What,
a
you mean
boiling
a
water
kettle?
machine. No, you idiot. You
The boiling
idiot.
water machine.
No, we've got
Brilliant.
one of those. To explain to our millions of listeners,
Yeah.
we've got one of those machines
A
where
machine.
you press a button
Yeah.
and boiling water comes
Yeah,
out.
doesn't mean make it a boiling water machine.
It is a boiling water machine, and steam comes out as well. I sometimes steam the spoon to make it cleaner. Then I wipe it. By the way, when I wipe it with a paper tissue.
Yeah.
Because if I wiped it with a cloth tissue, there would be the remains of somebody else's germs on that
Yeah,
towel, and
that's
I
right.
won't use it.
Yeah, well.
You know that the
Considering how ill you are,
paper-
all of this kind of ridiculous, OCD behaviour to try and
Paper,
only use clean things hasn't really helped you, has it?
paper tissues are the only form of guaranteed healthy cleaning materials in any sort of area, like
Really?
a bathroom or a kitchen. Well, everything else retains the germs
Is that
from
what you use at home,
the last time. Eh?
Is that what you use at home then?
Well, I don't know, because I don't clean at home, do I? My cleaning lady does, my housekeeper.
Well, you don't clean anything. What if you make yourself a cup of tea?
If
Do
I
you
make
not steam clean the spoon then?
Yes, I do, actually.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, I
Well,
do.
have you got a boiling water machine at home?
No.
So how do you do that then?
Well, I know it's only me, so
Right.
my own germs can't kill me. It's other people's
Well.
germs I worry about.
Well,
See what
you
I mean?
don't know, though, do you?
No, you do know. Now, listen, we shouldn't be talking about this. We should be
I'm
talking about Joe Hart.
I'm talking about Joe Hart.
I
She's talking
think
about
Joe
Louis van
Hart
Gaal.
was magnificent tonight.
He was.
I think he turned the tide of the English collapse in the Champions League.
Yeah.
And the way he spooked the Germans
Yeah.
with his behaviour before the penalty
Yeah.
was quite heroic.
I didn't notice that he spooked them particularly.
He did.
How did he do that?
He started walking around behind the goal and he started looking disorientated and not interested in saving the
Yeah.
ball and all that kind of stuff. Completely spooked the German
I must
penalty
have missed
taker. And, well, he must have missed it. Yeah, he must have been bladderated.
Not at all.
And Joe Hart suddenly went exactly the right way. He must have... I think the German
But it
guy...
wasn't so much that he went the right way, it was the way that he punched the ball away, wasn't it?
I think the German guy was trying to give him the eyes,
Yeah.
but I think Joe Hart worked out the eye language.
Well, he was
and-
fortunate. I mean, saving
and cross-eyed him.
penalties is all about good luck, isn't it, in the end?
No, it's
Yeah, of
not.
course it is.
No.
It's all about good luck.
How do you know Joe Hart hadn't spent hours this week watching the videos of penalties taken by the opposition?
Well, he might well have done.
Who incidentally were Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Yes.
Despite the fact that you berated me on Sunday morning in
Yeah.
a phone call and telling me no, it was Bayern
I
Munich.
didn't berate you at all.
You did. You kept telling
What
me
are
it was
you talking
Bayern
about?
Munich. You
No,
kept
that
telling me it
wasn't
was
me
Bayern
you were talking
Munich.
to. It must have been somebody else you were
No,
talking
it was
to.
definitely you I was talking
No,
to.
are you sure?
I'm certain.
No, I think you're losing the plot here.
And apart from that, it was nice to see Manchester United win as well.
Well,
because
it's good to see 6 points coming the Premier League's
I
way.
agree.
Still only 9 points out of a total of what?
Yeah,
24.
here's that penalty. Look on our internal monitors.
Yeah,
Watch it.
Raphael's taking it.
Yeah,
Do you know where
no-
Raphael's from?
Yeah, of course I do. Now,
Where's he from?
No, hang on, watch.
Yeah, but what's all the stuff about
Look at
going
that.
behind the...
Look at that.
Yeah, I saw it already.
Yeah.
I watched it.
He walked around behind the goal.
There was no walking around behind the goal that I saw.
No, he was. I saw it. Don't worry about
Well,
that.
they didn't show it then.
Well, maybe they edited it or something. It was certainly in the live.
Well, I was watching
in
it
the
live and I didn't see it.
Well, you
You sure
know,
you didn't imagine it?
You can't watch football matches concentrating. You're always concentrating on other things.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
true, yeah. So where's Raphael from?
Raphael?
Yeah.
Huh?
Raphael, yeah.
What do you mean,
The
where's he
Borussia
from?
Mönchengladbach striker, the guy that caused them so many problems.
What do you mean, where's he from?
Well, where's he from?
Where's he from?
Well, when you see a player that good,
Well, where are you from?
You start to. Where am I from? I'm from Britain. I was born in London. My parents are
You're
Scottish.
from Hampstead, okay.
Yeah.
So
Well, where's he from?
What does it matter? What does it matter?
Well, you
where
don't
he's
care
from?
where he's from. Well, I think he should be playing in the Premier League. I think he's a great player.
Well, okay, so
So I immediately thought I
he's
should
not.
find out where he's from and see which country that he might
Yes.
favour to come and play in.
Yes.
And I discovered
Yeah.
where he's from.
Yeah.
Which you obviously didn't.
Well, you had to look it up.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't know.
No, I didn't.
I mean, I can't. There's nothing I can do to help you there, is there?
Well, there is if you know where he's from.
I know where he's from.
Well, where is he from?
I'm refusing to. This is not another quiz, or a test or
No,
anything
the quiz
like
is
that.
tomorrow night.
That's right. Yeah.
King Henry VIII.
King Henry VIII. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I've been studying him today. What a fascinating man he was. So heavy, wasn't he? Bit of a fatso. But there you go.
Don't try and change the subject.
I'll
tell you where Raphael's from, shall I? Would you
I
like to know?
Yeah, well, if you think you know, I don't think you know.
Oh, he's from Brazil.
Raphael's from Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
Did you?
Yeah, of course I did.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Of course I did. You fool. What I was going to say to you was to fool you and make you leap down my throat with your
That's one place I will not be leaping.
with your intensity to try and
You see the time, by the way.
constantly embarrass me. I was going to say, well, he speaks Portuguese. Then you'd have said, no, he's not from Portugal. Then I'd have said, no, he's from Brazil.
Why are you imagining a conversation? This is what you do all the time, isn't
No,
it?
no.
You sit around at home imagining a conversation in your head.
Do you know why they speak Portuguese in Brazil but not in the rest of South America?
No, why?
Because the Spanish and the English, both conquerors of South America, eventually got together for a conference as how to divide up South America. And all they did is they just drew a line right down the middle of South America, and Brazil is so big that it arcs out on the right into the South Atlantic Ocean, you see what I mean? Then comes back in just above Argentina. Yeah. And so the Portuguese said, right, we'll have the right half, which was Brazil, which is like a third of the whole of South America. And the British had the rest.
Right.
The Portuguese had the right-hand side, the British and the Spanish had the left-hand side.
So why don't the other the countries that are south of Brazil, on the east side of South America, speak Portuguese?
Because the only bit of the bulbous map that they drew up that was on the right-hand side, after they divided it down the middle, was the rump of Brazil, because it's so big.
So the other countries weren't there?
Yeah, the other countries were there, but they were on the left-hand side of the map once you divided South America in half.
You think Brazil goes all the way down to the bottom of South America?
No, but it goes all the way down to the end of when you divide it in half bit. You see what I mean? The rest of Argentina on the left goes further in.
I see what you're saying.
You don't understand.
I see what you're saying. It's an interesting way to divide a continent.
Yeah, of course it is, but you don't understand anything about geography. You know, the extent of your geographical knowledge.
We had your geographical knowledge in the quiz last week. You got 1 out of 10.
Is Scotland?
You got 1 out of 10.
What was that for?
In the geographical quiz last week.
That was
how to get from points A to B.
Well, hang on.
Look at the time, anyway.
The first question was, what's the shortest motorway in Britain? I said the M69, and you said, no, that's a motorway for fire engines. You are a thickhead.
No, you got it wrong. It's the M96, and the question was, what is the M96 special?
That's what I said. I said
it was the M69. That's the M69 triangle.
I said it was the shortest.
Anyway, I don't think Porky's had any sleep. So
Jose's in the clear. Jose's in the clear.
Yeah, all right.
We need to talk about that.
We'll get to that in a minute.
United won.
Yeah, we've said that. We are the two mites. Where's Raphael from?
Raphael is from Brazil.
Very good. This is Talk Sport.
Van drivers, get Direct Line's 5-star de facto rated van insurance from just £181. Can your insurance do that? Search Direct Line Van Insurance. De facto is an independent financial research company. Excludes add-ons. 10% of customers paid this or less September 2014 to March 2015. Underwritten by UK Insurance Limited.
The best sports news, exclusive interviews and unmissable opinion in this week's Sport magazine. Download your free sport-filled iPad edition now.
Get in-depth previews, stunning photography and exclusive video content. Sport magazine is now available in iPad, Kindle Fire HD and Android editions.
Sport magazine. The weekend starts here.
Oi, smoker! Yeah, you! Listen to the governor. There's still time to sign up to Stoptober. Why, in the name of Her Royal Highness, haven't you signed up yet? No sane smoker with an ounce of common sense would pass up this golden opportunity. So I can only assume you haven't seen the telly ads because you've been living under a rock. Well, now it's time to dust yourself off and join the thousands of people who are quitting together. You're lucky it's not too late. Search Stoptober. This time, it's personal.
Stoptober takes place across England.
The BMW i3. It's not just an electric car. It's an electric car that drives like a BMW. Rentals from £299 per month. Discover more at bmw.co.uk/i3. £3,699 initial rental, 36-month hire agreement from BMW Financial Services, subject to status and availability for new vehicles ordered before 31st of December 2015 and registered by 31st of March 2016. UK only, guarantees may be required. Mileage and other conditions apply when you return the vehicle.
The all-new Easy Play Selco Predictor, with more prizes, more often and more chances to win £1 million.
And as if that wasn't enough, play Beat the Presenter to win a spectacular additional Predictor prize.
This week, pitch your predictions against Flamehead firebrand Adrian Durham, and you could win a football shirt signed by Brazilian legend Pelé.
Download the new Selco Predictor app now on your smartphone.
Play it in the van, play it on the can, play it with your gran.
Sign up now at talksport.com/predictor.
Sunday afternoon from 1:30. Exclusive national radio commentary of the Merseyside derby. Everton versus Liverpool. Barclays Premier League, live on Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mites. There will be a podcast coming out. There will be Porky Vision coming up a little bit later on, of course, as well. The Porky Quiz is tomorrow night.
Yes.
We will be talking to Mr. Gordon Hill coming up in a little while. But you want to talk about Jose Mourinho as well, don't you? Because Jose Mourinho has now been cleared by the FA of any kind of, sexist language, basically.
I think it's worth talking about because he's the man in the frame at the moment. I mean, the speculation about where Jose goes this season now is getting to fever pitch, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, people who spend their lives studying the politics of football and looking at the signs are saying quite openly, he won't be there by the end of the season. I mean, there was a debate in the show before this one.
Well,
about
I started this. I said this many weeks ago.
Yes.
I said that something is not right with Jose Mourinho's attitude. Something is not right with the way Chelsea are playing. Something's not right with the way that he's kind of not really seemingly being that bothered about it all. It's all very odd, isn't it?
Yeah, and about him turning up at the training ground and all that. Now, I spoke to somebody who was at the training ground when he was there.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if this was recently, but certainly this season, anyways. I don't know if it was last week or two.
Since the summer.
Since the summer, when Mr. Abramovich turned up at the training ground. And the person who was there and witnessed this said he was in an incredibly good mood. And what they noticed was his relationship with the players was very close. And he kept picking up spoons off the table and banging the spoons on the players' heads.
Abramovich?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That sounds bizarre behaviour.
Well, no, I mean, don't you understand? It was like affectionate. It's not like trying to whack them and knock them out or anything like that.
Yeah, but it's curious. It's curious, eccentric behaviour, isn't it?
No, it's not. No,
if somebody came into the TalkSport offices, right, and started walking around, and he was effectively the owner or the manager, started hitting people with spoons.
Yes.
What would you think of that?
I would say, well, he's in a playful mood, and that's good because the view of it I was given is that one of the reasons Mr. Abramovich owns a football team is because he is an absolutely besotted football fan, and being one of the richest men in the world. You know, they say, it's your train set, you can do what you want with it. Well, Chelsea is his train set, he can do what he wants with it. But he takes immense pride and satisfaction in owning a football club with some world-class players here, and to have a playful exchange with a world-class footballer, to him, is something he's been dreaming about since he was a little boy.
But what he doesn't like
so
is
knocking him on the head with a spoon as a gesture of affection, all that, is part of that sort of feeling.
But what he doesn't like is when they underperform, because when you see him sitting up there in his box, and you see that kind of besotted smile, as you would describe it, when they win something or when they're playing well.
Yes.
But you also see the scowl when they're not playing well, when they don't win.
Well, you see, like,
so he can't be in a very good mood.
You see a negative look on the face. No, I'm sure he can't be in a very good mood. In fact, I heard Jason and Andy talking with somebody about if the result goes wrong at Southampton this weekend, it'll be very, very difficult territory for everybody involved at Chelsea. But the other thing that people have forgotten, I think, is that I think Mr. Abramovich's attitude to being the owner of the club has changed absolutely dramatically since the first game in which he was in charge. You remember that was away at Liverpool and Chelsea won?
Yeah.
When Mr. Ranieri was the manager, wasn't he? He's now the Leicester manager, isn't he?
He is the Leicester manager,
that's right.
Doing a great job there too.
And do you not remember he walked up and down the touchline and did high fives with all the Chelsea fans? Do you remember?
I do remember that.
And he was smiling and beaming and all that kind of stuff. And then I think somebody must have said, actually, we should adopt a different strategy to ownership or something like that. You know what I mean? Like because
be a bit more aloof.
Well, I'm not sure about being a bit more aloof or anything like that. I mean, who knows? It might have been something to do with the position of a Russian in Britain or something like that.
Right.
Because there are political understandings.
Well, we might have a conversation about the politics of Russia later on.
Yeah, we might do. Yeah.
They've done some things in the last 24 hours that we should talk about as well.
Well, yeah, but they're doing positive things in my view. I just don't get it while people are having a go, because nobody else in the world is trying to sort out a situation which is potentially very dangerous to the Western world.
We will talk about that.
But at least Mr. Putin is saying, look, I've got
putting
a plan.
The boot in.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Putin puts the boot in.
Well, that is the Russian way of life. The Russian way of life is, if this person is causing me a problem, then I'm going to stamp on their face until their face is flat, so that they understand that the Russian jackboot has some influence in the world. That's always been Mr. Putin's view.
One of the things I found interesting as well was that somebody put out on Twitter a picture of the Russian embassy in London with nobody standing outside it, saying, here's the Stop the War Coalition's demonstrations against the Russians.
Yeah,
of course, nobody's demonstrated against them. They only demonstrate against us.
Exactly. You wouldn't demonstrate against the Russians. I'll tell you a famous story. And I was working in the Middle East in the 80s, right? And
was this when you had the Fiesta?
It was during the time when I had to, unfortunately, wreck a Fiesta driving through the Bekaa Valley because I was trying to dodge an Israeli tank which was not shelling me, but shelling the road I was on. And the car kept falling into like these 5-foot potholes, which were holes made by shells from a tank. But anyway, the point of the story is, in those days, everybody was getting kidnapped all over the place, okay? So, for instance, it was the Terry Waite situation, all that kind of stuff. Well, what happened was that somebody made the mistake. They were kidnapping diplomats and asking for ransom money, all these terrorist groups,
And some countries were paying the ransom money.
Some countries were paying the ransom money. A lot of it went on behind the scenes, and it was alleged the Americans did pay some ransom money to get some of their people back. But then, one of these terrorist groups in Beirut made the mistake of kidnapping a Russian diplomat.
Right.
And the Russians sent their Spatsy guys, is that what they were called? Sputnik or something?
Sputnik?
No. What were they called? They were the Russian equivalent of the SAS.
Oh, OK.
Spetsnaks or something like that, whatever they were called. I used to know their names because I studied their political...
Their modus operandi.
Their modus operandi,
yes,
that's right.
Did you ever worry you might get kidnapped?
No, not really.
Not worth much, really.
Although I tell you what, I was in the same country as John What's his name when he got kidnapped.
John What's his name?
You know, he got kidnapped on the way back to the airport, and he was held for 5 years with Terry Waite.
Oh, the guy that was held with Terry Waite.
Yeah, John, very nice chap actually.
Yeah, chained to a radiator.
In fact, I had a drink with him at the hotel we stayed at in Jerusalem called the American Colony.
Oh yeah.
And a few days later, he got nabbed. But anyway, there for the grace
lucky
of
you
God.
were with him. You could have ended up being chained to a radiator for 5 years. Imagine being chained to a radiator with you for 5 years.
What?
He probably would have rather topped himself than come home.
Well, that's a terrible thing to say. That is really base, that is.
What do you mean, base?
Well, that is really
I
low,
can't imagine anything worse than being stuck in a room with you and chained to a radiator for 5 years. Can you imagine what that would be like?
You've been stuck in radio studios with me for longer than 5 years, accumulatively.
Yeah, I know,
you
but
haven't
at least
topped yourself yet.
At least I've got a chance to get out, though.
Anyway, let me finish this story, you idiot.
Go on.
So anyway...
John MacArthur you're talking about, right?
John MacArthur.
Yeah.
Or
Not
McCarthy? McCarthy.
No, MacArthur.
Not the guy who invented the park in L.A.
No.
MacArthur's Park.
No.
Right.
I don't think he invented it, to be honest.
So anyway, they kidnapped this Russian diplomat, OK?
Yeah.
So the Russians are not happy about this, not pleased. And it was in the days, of course, when the USSR was the other superpower in the world. America was one, USSR was the other.
Right.
And they made a bit of a mistake. So they sent the old Spetsnaz over there, right? Yeah. And the Spetsnaz kidnapped the man who was the head of the terrorist group which had kidnapped the Russian diplomat.
Yeah, OK.
And they killed him and cut his head off.
Right.
And then they went round to the HQ of the terrorist group, because they knew exactly where they were operating from. Right. They kicked the door down and they rolled the guy's head into the room. And then they walked in and they said, could we have our diplomat back, please?
Yeah.
And within 5 seconds... the diplomat was back, and they were all on the way to the graveyard.
Yeah, right.
And that's the way the Russians sort out problems.
Indeed.
And if we sorted out problems like that, because the SAS are the most efficient in the world at doing that sort of thing, right? We wouldn't have the problems we have in the world now.
Yeah.
I'm not advocating mass violence or anything like that.
No.
But I'm saying you've got to let these guys know who's running things, and it's a defence of democracy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what I don't actually disagree with you. It's a very serious point, a very good point. Now, let me read you a couple of tweets before we go any further. Paul says, I'm so pleased I've tuned into the two mics 19 minutes in and already had a Porky geography lesson.
Yes.
Richard says, Porky needs more sleep. No man I know can talk as much cobblers as him. Credit also, as he is also very clever at times.
Oh, thank you very much indeed.
Now, how about this one from Andy? Now, you say I never read anything out that's anti-me. This one is anti-me.
Right.
It says, old MG, I'm British, my mother's from Scotland, but I will claim to be Welsh, Irish or anything else when it suits me.
Yes.
Hashtag imposter. Well, Andy, I think first of all, you should clean out your ears, because I've never said I'm British, my mother's from Scotland. What I do say is
you claimed to be Welsh last night.
I've never claimed to be Welsh.
You are.
No, I've never claimed to be Welsh. I said that I have a great affinity with Welsh rugby. Yes. And therefore I will support Wales in rugby.
Well, why are you...
Because I think that's a fantastic thing to do.
Well, you see,
both my parents,
no
Andy, both my parents are from Scotland, not just my mother. So if you listen more carefully, matey, you won't accuse me of being an imposter.
Well, hang on. Let me just reveal a conversation we had to our millions of listeners.
Well, then.
On the world tour next year of the Two Mics Live, when and by the way, we'll be announcing the venues very soon, but you said we have to go to Cardiff, which hopefully we will be doing. Yeah. And you said, I said, why? I said, well, it's like my hometown. So why did you? Yes, you did.
No,
why did you regard? Yes, you did.
I never said that.
You used to be the editor
of a lot of time in Cardiff.
Of a newspaper that sold 6 copies a day.
It's a great city.
The Welsh Daily Mirror.
Yeah, that's right.
The Cymru Daily Mirror.
Cymru,
the Cymru Daily Mirror, and you were based in Cardiff, were you not?
I was indeed.
Yeah, so you did refer to it as, well, it's like my hometown.
Well, it's not like my hometown.
No shame in it. No shame if you want to be a Cardiffian.
No,
I'm
not saying. I wouldn't claim to be a Cardiffian. I did spend a lot of time there, and I have a great affinity for the place, and I love the Welsh people, and I love Wales. However, I'm not Welsh, and I've never claimed to be Welsh.
No, but you love Scotland as well.
Right.
Do you love Scotland?
I love Scotland, yeah.
How many other countries do you love? Do you love England?
I love England, yeah.
Oh, so far we love Wales, we love Scotland, we love England. You love the USA, where your children live.
I do love the USA.
So you love the USA as well.
What's wrong with that?
Do you love any other countries?
No, not really. That's about it.
No, you don't love Bosnia, where you did a bit of work or anything like that?
No, I don't like Bosnia, actually.
No? What about France? You love France?
No, not really.
No? Oh, really? Well, we're getting round, aren't we? Getting the countries we love.
What's wrong with loving countries? You've got a problem with
Listen, you can like a country, but you can't love it. You can only love your own country.
You can't love anything.
You can't
love anything except yourself.
The only country I love is the United Kingdom.
What about Scotland,
Britain.
Wales, England?
Yeah, I love all them.
So you love England and Scotland and Wales just like me, then?
No,
You've just said you did. You've just said you did.
I didn't.
You've kippered yourself again.
No, I didn't. You once again have twisted my words. I said I love the United Kingdom.
You said there's something wrong with loving Scotland, Wales and England.
No.
Which are part of the United Kingdom.
I didn't describe them as countries. The United Kingdom is a country. If you went to the Eurovision Song Contest, which we're going to talk about...
that's always the great yardstick of whether some place is a country or not.
What did Katie, what's her name, who used to be
Katie who?
She used to be the compare for it.
Eh?
You know the woman I'm talking about. She's very famous, very beautiful.
Katie Partridge?
No, you idiot. And I think she did a bit of cooking during the time as well, or I might have got her confused with somebody else. But anyway, the point I'm saying is, she used to say,
Katie Boyle, you're thinking of?
Good evening, United.
Katie Boyle.
Katie Boyle, that's a woman. Yeah,
this is ancient history.
Yeah, hang on. And she used to say.
Time.
Hang on, she used to say, "Good evening, United Kingdom," and then Terry Wogan would say, "Good evening, Katie Boyle," and
And this is proof of what?
Well, just that we were called the United Kingdom. We're one country.
I see, brilliant.
Okay.
That's the way to guard against any kind of false countrifying.
Yes.
He is Mike Parry, I'm Mike Graham. Gordon Hill's coming up next.
Excellent.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The enduring home of football.
It's modern radio, only better.
Talk Sport.
You gotta speed it up, and then you gotta slow it down. 'Cause if you believe that a love can hit the top, you gotta play around. And soon you will find that there comes a time for making your mind up.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two Mikes, and of course we've got lots more coming up over the course of the next few hours. A couple of tweets to read out to Mr. Parry.
Yes.
Darren says, Porky's on fine form tonight.
What?
His last 15 minutes involved beheadings, Eurovision and being chased by a tank.
Well, you've got to tell it like it is. You've got to tell it like it is. That's all I can say.
Yeah, how about this one from, let's see, Ian in Rossendale. I can't read out all of it because it's a little bit rude in parts. Good morning, both Mikes. He says, you made a good point there, Mr. Graham. I can't think of anything worse than being tied to a radiator next to Porky for 5 years either.
That would be a bit harsh, I must admit. Tied to a radiator next to anybody for 5 years would be a bit harsh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then here's one from Sarizo, or Denny, I should say. He says, a nice bloke who I had a drink with before he was kidnapped. Now, what's his surname? Priceless Parry.
But it was a long time ago. I mean, that's everybody's nightmare, isn't it? To be hauled off in the middle of the night and then bang, locked in a cupboard for 5 years with a load of cockroaches. I remember the cockroach thing. Oh, that would have killed me.
It would be awful.
But there you go.
Mark in Bracknell, you pleased to know, is siding with you. He says, MG, you normally are the sensible one, but of course penalty saving is a skill and not luck. One you face enough to get used to the telltale signs of the takers. I could always tell if it was going left or right for power. It is down to the execution of the kick as to whether I could reach it. I can't believe I'm siding with Porky. Well, it's amazing how many people are experts on these things, isn't it?
Well, it's not expert. It's because...
No, it's always luck. There is no way you can convince me.
It is not.
You can narrow the odds if you not.
Exactly.
You can narrow the odds, but that's all you can do.
No.
If you're against a person who's a very good penalty taker, you've got no chance of.
No.
You can study Lionel Messi's penalties. What about Sergio Aguero's penalty?
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
Do you think that the Mönchengladbach goalkeeper didn't study Sergio Aguero's penalties?
I'm sure he did. And
Aguero sent him the wrong way.
Listen, there's a combination. You got to study their previous penalty taking.
But that doesn't help
exploits. Then you've got to psychologically try and work them out. Then you've got to give them the eyes as they're approaching to take that penalty, and then you've got to be agile and agility personified.
Exactly.
And you can go the wrong way. Of course you can go the wrong way. If you go the right way, you should be able to save it. Anyway, that's
what I'm
another
saying.
story.
That's what I'm saying. It's all, in the end, it is largely about luck, because in the end, whichever way you go is dependent on a decision that you've made and whether you get lucky.
No, it's not, honestly. It's much more than that, and I'm glad that the
listeners... You've never been a goalkeeper anyway, you're too small.
No, I have. I was the goalkeeper for
How could you have been a goalkeeper?
I was the goalkeeper for the King's School Chester Junior School when I was 8.
Couldn't they get anybody taller?
I keep telling you, my mum knitted me a jumper which had half green on one side and black and dark blue on the other, because those were the King's School colours.
They must have had nobody else that they could do it.
Everybody was small in those days.
Well, no, everybody was small.
I was 8.
Well, you were 8, but you weren't the same size as everybody else, were you?
I was,
You must have always been shorter than everybody else.
No, I haven't. I'm not shorter than everybody else now.
You are.
I'm not. I'm the average size of a man. I'm 5'9"
The average size of a small man.
No.
Have you seen the pictures from the Hen and Cheese Chickens, where you were standing outside with some of the people having their pictures taken with you?
No, I don't look at my pictures myself.
Well, one of the women,
I don't feel the need to.
Well, one of the women fans who was there, right?
Yes.
Who had a picture taken next to you, said she was 5'1".
Yeah.
And you're about the same size.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. You know that's not true. Now, listen.
I want to talk to you about Max Verstappen.
Well, hang on. I want to talk to you about the Eurovision Song Contest first, because it's very, very important.
Well, that's too many references to the Eurovision Song Contest already.
Max Verstappen?
Yeah, Max Verstappen.
Yeah, what about him?
Yeah, I want to talk to you about him.
What about?
Well, he's just passed his driving test.
Yeah, OK, in a second. Please, let me tell you this, because this is very important, OK?
Yeah.
Now then, what I've discovered is that the BBC is going to end its run of Eurovision Song Contest disasters.
Right.
Do you remember the Engelbert Humperdinck one in 2012?
No.
What a disaster.
I don't watch the Eurovision Song Contest. It's rubbish.
What a disaster. But
I'm not interested in it.
Look, this is great news for the country. This
Why?
is great. Well, I'm going to tell you now. This is a real announcement, OK? A real announcement, folks, here on TalkSport on the two mics. Right.
OK, go on.
BBC is attempting to end its run of Eurovision disasters by reverting to the Song for Europe format by asking fans to select the UK entry.
Right.
Now, after years of allowing...
what have they been doing before that, then?
An internal panel, I'm about to tell you.
Right,
after years of allowing an internal panel to choose the act with less than stellar results, of course, and Engelbert Humperdinck is used as an example, the BBC has now overhauled the selection process for the 2016 Song Contest in Stockholm, which is next May.
Right.
Now, what's being billed...
shouting?
No, because I'm very excited.
I know.
What's being billed as the biggest ever Eurovision song search... Any aspiring singer over the age of 18, right, who are you looking at?
I'm looking at you.
Who are you looking at?
Why are you pointing at yourself?
An aspiring singer.
You think you call yourself an aspiring singer?
Over the age of 18.
Well, you're over the age of 18.
This is where it's getting exciting, right?
Okay, right. Well, you're going to enter yourself.
Well, I'm going to tell you what my plan is. Right, so what did I say? Yeah, any aspiring singer over the 18 is invited to submit a video. Now, what do we often do and put up on YouTube?
We put videos up there on Two Mics TV.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
Submit a video of their original song for consideration, OK?
OK.
And then the 1,000-member UK branch of the Eurovision Fan Club...
Yes.
So they're not professionals anymore, they are literally fans.
So these are fans of the show.
Will assist in shortlisting the open entries in a tacit admission that fans of the show know better than the BBC executives what constitutes a popular song.
Right.
We have got to go for this, Mike.
So is it going to be like an X Factor?
We have got to go for this.
We have got to go for it. I don't even watch the Eurovision Song Contest.
We have got to get a video together, put it up on Two Mics TV, and we're going to submit that to the Eurovision Song Contest panel to see if we can be the chosen ones,
OK? You can't just submit a video. It has to be an original song, presumably, doesn't it?
Well, what happens is, right, to cover all bases, a parallel process will invite members of the British Academy of Songwriters, Composers and Authors to submit professional entries.
Right.
But anybody over the age of 18, like myself, can write their own song. What are you laughing at? What's your problem? What's your problem?
So you're going to write the theme tune.
I can write a song.
Sing the theme tune.
I can write a song.
Can you?
Yes.
I haven't ever heard of one of the songs that you've written. I've only ever heard you butchering somebody else's songs.
I can write the lyrics.
Well,
so
maybe you get a chance of getting them right if you write them yourself, I suppose.
Hang on, excuse me. This is my plea to our millions of listeners.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to write the lyrics to a song for the Eurovision Song Contest. Yeah. I'm appealing to a musician out there with a guitar to provide me with a melody for that song. Now, do you remember a year or two ago, somebody who was big in a group was going to talk to me about a Eurovision Song Contest entry? Do you remember?
Somebody was big in a group?
Yeah, in Manchester. Don't you remember?
I do remember, but I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I can, almost. It was a guy in a very famous group.
Was it?
He was a famous singer-songwriter.
Was it Liam Gallagher, was it?
No, it wasn't Liam Gallagher, but it was of that ilk, so to speak. Now, so this is the plan, folks. This is the plan. I want to seriously enter the competition to represent the UK in the Eurovision song... Shut up, you. Just shut up. You've never done anything adventurous in your life.
I've done many adventurous things.
No, you haven't. Most adventurous thing you do is cook a ridiculous-looking meal and then put a picture of it on Twitter.
Okay.
Right? And all I need is a guy who can play a guitar to bash out a few chords. Right? And we'll put that around...
What about a drummer?
We'll
need a drummer?
No, we won't need that.
A keyboard player?
No, we won't need that either. Just
synthesizer?
For the initial video, which gives us
it's going to be like an unplugged kind of thing.
Yeah, the melody and the word. The words are going to be beautiful because I'm going to write them myself.
Have you got a sort of song in mind? Is it going to be kind of a ballad? Or is it going to be kind of a rock and roll poppy type of song?
It's going to be a rock and rolly poppy type of song, okay?
Right.
Now, Hugh Goldsmith, who's a record company executive who guided the early career of Take That, has been hired by the BBC as the music consultant, so he's going to make the decision.
You, isn't he?
Of course he is.
Yeah.
Of course he is. I'm telling you, I'm going in for it.
You've got a lot in common with...
I'm going in for it. I would appreciate the views of our audience of millions, please, here on TalkSport. I would also appreciate your support. If any of you have got a mate who's a sort of, Noel Gallagher-type individual, I don't expect Noel Gallagher to obviously get involved, who's got his own band and could spare an hour with a guitar... What's your problem? What's your problem?
I'm just reading some of the tweets that are coming in
Why?
already.
Why?
Well, because
I want the support of the nation.
I'm sure you do. I mean, there's a lot of things you want, but you're really going to get them. Though.
Yeah, but somebody...
it's very adventurous of you, and I take my hat off to you.
Yeah, if somebody gives me a tune, I'll provide... And by the way, the words will move people to tears, I would think.
Yeah,
They'll be very dramatic.
I bet they will, yeah. There'll be people weeping all over the place. Here's one from Razvan, who says, why are you always shouting all the time? I listen to the show through headphones and you're hurting my eardrums.
No, I'm just enthusiastic about this. This is one of the best ideas I've ever had here on TalkSport.
It's true, yeah.
Seriously, it is.
But you know what they say, a good idea is only a good idea if it works.
Yeah,
Roy says this.
I'm going to make it work.
We've got to get Porky as our official crooner for Eurovision. It will be an absolute shambles and it will be the highlight of his life.
What? Well, it won't be a shambles, mate. It's a mission. It's now become a mission, OK?
And Becky says, could Porky be the next John Lennon? His lyrics are legendary and I have faith he can write a song better than the normal Eurovision rubbish.
I can definitely write the words to it. But a lot of people who write songs don't write music.
Yeah.
They just hum the thing and they strum it on a guitar and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And for instance, somebody like who sang All Night Long?
All Night Long?
All Night Long.
Oh, Lionel Richie.
Yeah. Do you know how he writes a song?
How?
He taps the table until he hears a rhythm, and then he gets somebody in who plays like a guitar, and he says, "Listen to this," and then they get on their old keyboard. Yeah, no, seriously. Honestly, this is how you write a song. Here, I'll put the microphone down. You start tapping like this.
Yeah, I can see where this is going.
And then you get a rhythm.
Maybe by the end of the show you could have like a half a song
written. You do. You get a rhythm, and then somebody who's got an ear for music says, hang on, and get to a piano, and then they start playing it and then somebody on a guitar. That's how it's made. That's how it happens.
Here's one. You got a text here from a guy called Winston.
Right, Winston.
He says, please tell Porky we'll do a full backing track. We have a full studio here.
Really? Where's that?
Well, he doesn't say.
Oh, well, OK. Well, that's fine. I have already made a song. I made Paint It Black, but that was somebody else's song.
That was
written by Keith Richards and Mick Jagger.
Yeah.
And I did a cover version for charity, and it was a hit. It was a big hit.
Was it?
Yeah.
How much of a hit was it?
Well, it was great. It got to 46 in the chart.
46.
Seriously.
Very good.
Yeah.
You're saying the time?
Well, come on. I don't mind talking about the time now because I feel elevated and levitated by my idea for Eurovision.
OK, well, I'm glad you've...
I've bruised my finger, by the way, banging it on the desk.
I'm not surprised.
Seriously.
He's just come up with this idea.
What a bruise.
I won't be able to shut him up now. You can find a radio to tie him to. This is Talk Sport.
Getting to know you, getting to know about...
Whether you're selling or letting, buying or renting, at Leaders, we take the time to get to know what your priorities are. And then we make them our priorities. So why not drop into your local Leaders branch today and we can start getting to know you. Or visit us at leaders.co.uk. Leaders, sales and lettings. Connecting people with property.
Precise cornering on a cliff-edge road. A sudden stop in a midnight rainstorm. Acceleration on a highway. That's when you feel one with the road. Be one with your tires, and the road will be one with you. Hanguk Tires.
You now have the freedom to decide which direction to go with your pension. It can be a bit nerve-wracking, but PensionWise have the roadmap to guide you. Set up by the government, we offer free guidance on the routes you could take and what to watch out for. Visit pensionwise.gov.uk or to book an appointment, call 0300 330 1001 from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. PensionWise, your money, your choice.
He's got the numbers on the players, the triumphs and defeats. Got the form in the football weekend and the rumors on the streets. Get all the stats and all the facts with his football form report. Stay on the ball on Friday night with Sky Bet and TalkSport.
Get unmissable analysis and expert soccer speculation on all the weekend's big games. Stay on the ball on Kickoff the Players Lounge on TalkSport with Sky Bet. On a mission to make betting better. Visit skybet.com today or download the app.
Talk Sport.
Go on the throttle and taste the adrenaline.
Go the distance. On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Fast Company. Tell me about it.
Don't be a divvy.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on, of course. We're going to talk to Gordon Hill very shortly about Manchester United's performance last night. But I don't know what you made of this, Mike, because Louis van Gaal, before the game, said that actually Manchester United had a realistic chance of winning the Champions League. Right. They did well last night.
Yes.
But I don't think I'd go as far as to say that up against big-time opposition that they've got a chance, would you?
Well, do you know what? I think Chelsea winning the Champions League, was it 3 years ago, 4 years ago? I think I changed all that because Chelsea weren't anywhere near favourites to win it. And in fact, they...
Yeah, but what they were great at was not letting in goals, weren't they?
Well, yeah, I totally agree. But what I'm saying is that was almost like a miracle. They had a part-time manager. We didn't know he was part-time at the time, but he was part-time because 4 games
even
into
more
the
part-time
following
than he
season.
realised.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And these things can happen. When Porto won it under Jose originally, that was a miracle, wasn't it? Really. I mean, what other unlikely teams have won the Champions League? Did Marseille win it?
I can't remember. That would be a long time ago. I mean, within recent times, nobody really. I mean, within recent times, it's Real Madrid, it's Barcelona, it's Bayern Munich, it's all the teams. Chelsea won it. You know, it's all the teams you'd expect to win it. I mean, you would expect Man United to be up in those pantheonic-like names, but at the moment, let's ask Gordon Hill if he thinks so. I just don't think they've quite got it.
Okay.
Gordon, very good morning to you. Welcome.
Hey, Mike, how are you?
Yeah,
very good, thank you.
Very well indeed. What did you make of the game last night, first of all?
Well, we watched it. I thought we got out of jail in the second half. You know, we looked. We don't look confident enough to actually win the Champions League. But there again, having said that, you just brought up the point about Chelsea not having a good one and all of a sudden winning it. So it's a very funny game, actually, because if you watch Chelsea last night when they played Porto, it looked very Portuguese football, and Porto came out winners. But then now we're looking at the football that we're trying to play, and tonight we've seen, you know, or shall we say, I watched it this afternoon, guys. So what I saw was a lot of huff and puff. But then I saw that Wolfsburg could have cut us to pieces quite simply, you know. And we're going to run out of Lady Luck very shortly.
Well, it's an interesting group, isn't it? It's an interesting group. Everybody's got 3 points.
3 points.
Yeah.
To be honest, Gordon, I thought Manchester City were even more under the cosh than Manchester United, and theirs was a miracle victory, and that's you know, it's what football folklore is made of. A last-minute penalty to secure a victory away from home, brilliant. But blimey, I thought the Germans they were playing, Mönchengladbach, they were on top for 87% of the game.
Yeah, I mean, City got out of jail, they got out of jail well because you wouldn't have thought it was a penalty, and then all of a sudden, like in the 90th minute, they get that, and then all of a sudden, they don't forget they're in Germany, which is one of the hardest places to go and get points.
Of course it is.
And
well, I don't think any English team had beaten Mönchengladbach there, had they? Ever?
No,
I think it was the first time ever.
That's right, yeah.
But if you take into consideration that Wolfsburg come to Old Trafford, and all of a sudden they had a couple of chances where they could have quite easily gone into the lead.
Indeed.
And we got a penalty. You know, we're relying on penalties to get us through. But then all of a sudden we got to go to Germany, and you know what it's like. I know what it's like to go to Germany and play.
Yeah.
You get nothing.
No, that's right.
And that's going to be tough. And I agree with you guys. Looking at Champions League, I think I've got to throw my hat up in the air and say it could land anywhere.
It could land anywhere. But, Gordon, what do you think is the reason why, over the last 2 or 3 years, English clubs have not been able to dominate the Champions League competition in the way we did for the decade before that? My own personal view is that because physicality is being taken out of the game more and more each season, that weakens the English way of playing in Europe, and it's now resurrecting a balance between us and the Continentals.
The Continentals.
I totally agree with you. No, that's right. The Continentals is what we used to call them. So
exactly.
The Continental players can see exactly what it is. We can see the teams that have got the Spanish, right? If you look at Jose Mourinho and Porto, that was very Portuguese football. They matched Chelsea for everything they had.
Yes.
So that's very Portuguese. And then if you all of a sudden now you look at the Dutch is exactly, they can match each other.
Yes.
But then we've lost that impudence to be strong, to be our English brand is going. Our English brand is...
Yeah, but isn't that also, Gordon, it's not to do with the fact that English clubs aren't being allowed to play like that. It's because there are hardly any English players playing for these English clubs in the Champions League, so therefore...
Well, there's the managers.
And none of the managers are English, so why would they play that way?
You're not going to get it, yeah. I mean, everybody's looking at Mark Hughes' rough puff and, huff and puff and all that, but then all of a sudden you look at Jose Mourinho, and Jose Mourinho is all Brazilians and Portuguese and Spanish.
Yes.
We have lost our identity in trying to play the way that we did. Germany have never changed. They took it upon themselves to say, we're not going to change. They're still hard. They'll still play. And if you look at it, you say, I tell you what, every time you play against the German side, you know that they're going to go for 90 minutes. If you play against like Chelsea or somebody like this at the moment, and even Arsenal are doing the same, there's no identity to them. There is no identity. And unfortunately, we're losing it. Yeah. I'm watching Spanish football. I'm watching Portuguese football. I'm watching Dutch football. But then if I see a good German side, I go, we better watch it because Bayern Munich, I tell you what, they can play. Yeah. And what's happening over there is that they're giving us a lot of, oh my gosh, look, they've combined both the Spanish type of football and the German type of football, and they're putting us to the test. Yeah. We haven't got the players that can do that, I'm afraid.
Well, that's ridiculous, though, isn't it? We surely should have the players that can do that. Gordon, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks,
Gordon Hill there,
always good
talking
to hear
to his
from
former
you,
Manchester United player himself. I mean, watching that Manchester City game last night...
Who endorsed the fact that we call the people
No,
in
he said
Europe
we used to call them that. He said we used to call them that.
Well, I still do. Yeah.
Well, you still do because you're still trapped in the 1970s. But, the whole point about what people say about English clubs in Europe is that, they play much harder in England and it's much faster in the Premier League. And, I mean, watching that game last night, Mönchengladbach were incredibly quick, right? Yeah. They were running all over the place. They were fitter than Manchester City.
I agree with all that.
They were playing the ball faster. They were moving the ball faster. Yeah. So it's an absolute nonsense to say that, somehow we have to learn to play a different way in Europe. Because
I'm not sure about that.
The bottom line is they're just not really good enough, right?
Well, look, there's an element to, have the rest caught up with us. There's an element to that. There's also an element to the fact that I'm not sure how you define English football anymore.
No, neither do I.
With the amount of foreign players and foreign managers. There's not an English manager, is there, in the Premier League?
But it's the same problem for the English national team. How do you define how they play?
I mean, sorry, there's not an English manager in the Premier League who is capable of getting into the Champions League.
Well, not at the moment, anyway.
No, exactly, yeah. And I wonder, how the Premier League is still so distinctive from the leagues in Germany, Spain, and Italy when the mix of players in our country is even more multinational than, I mean, in Italy, you do get a rump of Italian players. In Germany, you get a rump of German players.
Exactly, and in Spain the same.
And in Spain the same, and in France the same.
And in Portugal.
And in Portugal the same, absolutely. Yeah. And yet in this country, you can have 9 different nationalities playing for one team that is battling for a top 4 place. They go into Europe and they're an English team. It is an odd equation.
At least once or twice a season, you'll get teams like Manchester City putting out a team with no English people in it at all. Let's have a quick word with Mal, who's a Man United fan. Mal, what do you want to say?
How you doing, guys?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good, yeah.
Just real happy with the United result tonight, but my main point is the possibility of England losing a place in the Champions League in the next couple of years. Well, I think you've got to look at Arsenal and Arsene Wenger for doing that, for basically playing like a reserve team, obviously the goalkeeper.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt it's going to happen.
Shocking development, that, really shocking. And the thing is that there's no explanation to why that sort of thing happens, Malin. You are right. Never mind what the manager's trying to do inside his own head. He has the responsibility as the manager of an English team to play the strongest team in Europe against a European team, because we have a reputation to defend, and I totally agree with you.
I mean, I went through a similar thing with Man United when I don't think Arsenal... I've got a good friend who's an Arsenal fan, and Arsenal have not had a decent goalkeeper since basically Lehmann. United went through a similar thing when we lost Schmeichel. Went through Bosniaks, Bartes, even Roy Carroll until we got Van der Sar.
Yeah.
But as you say, 10 million in the guy. It's the Champions League. You've got to play your number one. He's a world-class keeper.
Of course.
Well, it
You've
seems
got to play
ridiculous,
him.
doesn't it? Well, I mean,
yeah,
look at Joe Hart last night. Mal, thanks very much indeed. I mean, if Joe Hart hadn't been playing, because for some reason, Manuel Pellegrini thought it would be a good idea to,
play his reserve keeper.
to sort of rotate the keepers. They might have lost the game.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean, he made one absolutely smashing save, didn't he, before even the penalty?
Yeah.
And to his left, down low, you know what I mean? Palmed it away. Very athletic.
Yeah, he was very good.
Yeah.
But I mean, the other problem I think for teams like Arsenal is that Arsenal will end up being the ones who are harmed by their own policy here, because if it turns out that only the top three will get into Europe, then Arsenal, who traditionally always just try and get into the top four, suddenly won't be in Europe anymore. Suddenly won't have any Champions League money, and suddenly will be even less likely to have enough money to buy new players.
Yeah, but you see, that's a conundrum with Arsenal. They've apparently got a war chest of £200 million they could have spent on players in the summer, which they didn't. Right. So actually, one season out of the Champions League ain't going to bother them. And in that season out of the Champions League...
No, but what I'm saying is if it's only the top three as opposed to the top four...
Yeah, sure.
They will miss the Champions League more often than not.
I've just said to you, one season out of the Champions League may, in fact, be an opportunity for Arsenal then to concentrate all their resources on the Premier League and maybe even win it, or certainly get to second to get back in the Champions League the following season.
Yeah,
have you thought about that?
Yeah, but that won't be too late by then, because the competition will have already moved ahead of them. They'll be already, as ever, they'll be chasing their own tail.
I don't think so.
I don't think you thought this one through.
No, I have thought this one through. And they'll probably have a new manager by then anyway, who's more in tune with what's happening. And that could be Klopp or somebody like that.
I don't think
because Arsene Wenger can't go on forever.
Yeah, but he can go on for as long as he wants to.
Well, it's true.
Ian says this: who actually told Porky he could sing, or is it a standing joke at TalkSport and nobody has the 30% of the heart to tell him?
What?
Here's one from Duvrio.
Nonsense.
He says, does Parry know you have to have an atom of musical talent to enter Eurovision? He'd better get practising.
Hang on, why are so many divvies contacting the station
tonight?
Well,
they're not divvies, they're loyal listeners. Here's one from Ryan, who says, Porky at Eurovision would be a farce on the level of the Brit Awards with Sam Fox.
Oh, yeah?
And Tom says, just nil point, really.
Oh. A lot of very clever people around in the world tonight, aren't there?
Yeah.
Hey? Thank you very much, Einstein and co.
How about this one from Rob, who says, perhaps Porky can play that box he shakes when he created the new instrument. Hashtag Eurovision winner.
I did, actually. The shake box. That was actually, funny enough, I'm now about to reveal to our millions of listeners, that shake box, which I said I invented, was in fact a box of Maltesers. It wasn't.
So you didn't actually invent a musical instrument.
No, it wasn't actually.
I think you'd have to be a real plank to really believe that you'd invented anything.
I called it at the time the static maraca, but it wasn't actually a static maraca. It was a box of Maltesers, but it sounded like the static maraca.
Here's one from Rep. He says, "Why don't you ask Ian Danter to write you the music? He plays a few instruments." Ian, why are you laughing?
Because
just put another album out.
No. Whenever
like a heavy metal ditty.
No, whenever you talk to me about Ian Danter and music, all I can envisage is this man in lycra with stars painted on his face, is bashing a load of drums. I mean,
it would look good. It would look good with you up front and him in the back.
Well, look, I would I appreciate the offer, but there's musical and musical. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, coming up in the next hour, we're going to talk about spiders. We'll find out whether Porky's theory that conkers keep them out of the house will be in fact true, because this man's been studying spiders for 40 years, and we'll be asking him how on earth it is possible that so many dangerous spiders are now coming to our shores.
On digital radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. There is, of course, Porky Vision coming up a little bit later on as well. A few more tweets and texts have come in on the musical front. Here's one from, where are we? The guy, Winston, who says, we are down in Devon, but we can sort out a mobile rig to come and record you both. He says, MG has to do it as well. Ha ha. And we will bring it back and produce it here.
Well, I mean, that would be ridiculous. I mean, no, thank you very much for the offer. What's the name of the chap?
Winston.
Winston, thank you very much indeed. But to get Mike Graham involved is ridiculous. I mean, his voice is just...
Even though I did actually win the X Factor TalkSport contest.
No, you didn't. And your voice is pathetic, honestly.
I did win it. Ollie Mers said I had a very good voice.
When was this?
This was last year.
Oh, rubbish.
Yeah, it's not rubbish.
Rubbish.
And we'll find it for you if you like.
Why wasn't I invited into this competition?
I have no idea. I don't know.
I mean, everybody knows that I am the prime singing talent on this station. I mean, we're very much a speech station, obviously. Speech station. But I'm the chap who most exercises his vocal cords
maybe you were too busy doing something on another station.
To the general appreciation of our millions of listeners. So I wouldn't worry about that.
Here's one from Mo, who says, P.S. I'm not a nutter. He says, hello guys, Ray, the Eurovision Song Contest. I've just got back from the studio and have a perfect tune for Porky to sing if interested. It's a bit rough around the edges, but would fit fit the bill perfectly. If interested, I'm happy to email you.
Yeah, well, that's very interesting and very encouraging that so many people are taking it so seriously. Because these people in the music business, if they thought I was a complete, oik when it comes to singing and musical, they wouldn't be getting involved like this. Clearly, there's a will and a passion throughout the country to do it. So I'm pretty made up about it.
Here's somebody else from the music business. Richard from Evesham says, Mike's Eurovision dream, nil point. Good luck.
Oh, really? And is that his total contribution?
That is his total contribution,
all right. And what's his name again?
His name is Richard from Evesham.
OK, Richard. Well, next time I need the views of, somebody who hasn't got a clue what he's talking about, I will get back to you, pal. Thank you very much indeed for being in touch.
Yeah.
Now then...
now, we've got lots of other tweets and texts to come in, but let's talk about Max Verstappen first, because, of course, this is a guy who has been on the Formula One circuit now this whole season.
Yes.
They've already got, halfway through it already,
He's 12th in the table.
Yeah, he's done brilliantly.
His first season, 12th
he was only 17,
table.
right? So he turned 18.
Utterly unbelievable.
On Wednesday, which is yesterday, I guess, and finally passed his driving test at the first attempt. So he's now actually able to drive him. I mean, quite a ridiculous situation where he couldn't even drive himself to the Formula One track or to the practice track. To actually do what he does for a living.
I know, isn't it amazing? Yeah. Well, I suppose
it struck me that I should ask you, because I don't know if you've ever told me about your driving test experiences.
My driving test,
did you pass your first driving test?
I passed second time.
Second time.
First time, I took it in a Morris 1100 and I turned a corner left and the back wheel went over the curb. So that was it. No, I knew it was it. No, it just glanced the curb. You know what I mean? Got everything else right. The 3-point turn and the. And,
how about the emergency stop?
Emergency
that was
stop.
Always a ridiculous thing.
I used to love that emergency stop, because if I didn't like the instructor, I used to do it before he told me to do it.
And when you did it, did everyone wear a seatbelt or not, probably?
Do you know what? I can't remember, but I do remember putting an instructor's head right into the windscreen, seriously, deliberately, because I disliked them intensely.
Right.
And he said, "Now
was that part of the first test? Maybe that's why he failed you then."
No, it was part of a lesson, actually. It was a lesson, and he said, when I bang my clipboard on the dashboard, I want you to make an emergency stop. So I revved up and all that kind of stuff, and then I thought, I don't like you, so I made the emergency stop, and he literally went forward and knocked in the windscreen.
Oh dear!
And got all sort of disorientated.
There wasn't
and confused.
Any blood or anything, was there?
No, there was no blood or anything like that. But I just didn't like him, and I didn't have any more driving tests with him. Listen, talking about driving and all that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you raised this, because you're absolutely right about that young fella. He's going to be a world champion one day, isn't he? If he's 12th in the table now. But the driving issue, which is consuming me and the rest of the world now, should be consuming you, is that they've changed the rules now for where they position speed cameras. And have you seen the pictures in the last couple of days of speed cameras sneakily being inserted into tractors in rural areas?
Yes, I saw that story earlier. In fact, I tweeted that story earlier on. Yeah.
Now, you know what it's all about, don't you?
What is it all about?
Up until now,
presumably about raising more money.
Well, of course it's about raising more money, but they've changed the laws, or the laws are being got around or something like that, because up till now, you were only ever allowed to put a speed camera in an area where the police would justify the
it was
need,
like an accident black spot,
exactly,
wasn't it?
the need for a camera because an accident black spot or something like that. Now, all bets are off, and worse than that, the gentleman's agreement that there would always be warnings about speed cameras is now no longer being adhered to.
Yeah.
So they can hide the speed cameras in things like horse boxes and all sorts of things.
Yeah, but that doesn't seem right,
disgusting.
Does it?
It is disgusting.
Because the reason they couldn't do that in the past was that they couldn't use subterfuge, because the idea was that speed cameras there, it should be visible. And they passed that rule, didn't they, some years ago? Because remember when they first started?
As an incentive to make you slow down.
Because I mean, surely the point of a speed camera is to make you slow down, which I'm all for.
That's right.
I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
However, if they're now going to use subterfuge, then clearly they have to admit that it's all about raising revenue.
Well, let me.
So on front page of the Sun this morning, actually, they've got a campaign saying "Come clean on cameras." Speed cameras, pull a fast one.
Well, I haven't seen that yet because I don't follow where other people go. I lead from the front. Now, what I'm looking at, this is the report here. Official rules published 8 years ago set out clear instructions to police and councils on how drivers should be properly warned about gatzos up ahead.
Yeah.
Without them, cops are free to set up sneaky, unmarked traps, to snare unwitting drivers. Under the old Department for Transport rules reviewed in 2013, cameras had to be yellow and clearly signposted, but the guidelines have now been axed, completely scrapped, with no announcement or consultation, and the DFT, Department for Transport, said it's up to the Police and Highways Agency to say where the gatzos go.
Yeah.
Our revelation comes after a Humberside cop with a speed gun hid in a tractor. AA Chief Edwin King said changing policy without telling drivers is completely unacceptable. A DFT spokesman said the 2007 rules were out of date, We don't issue guidelines at the moment. It's up to the Highways, England, and for local roads, please.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Disgusting.
Isn't it? It is ridiculous because I mean, one of the reasons that they need to do this presumably is because they're running out of money and they need to raise as much money as they possibly can.
It's absolutely disgusting, honestly, and it's so un-British as well. You know, you'd expect that sort of thing in a police state or something like that, where the public are seen to be subservient to the police, but in this country, the police are subservient to the public because they police.
Well, they're meant to be.
Well, of course they're meant to be because they can only police by agreement with the general populace.
But this also comes hot on the heels, does it not, of the October the 1st, which is the date it is today.
It is,
as you pointed out at the start of the show, where the new rules come in about smoking in cars with children, right? And the police have already come out and said, we're not going to enforce it.
Can't endorse them,
so what's the point of that?
Anybody who smokes in a car when their children in the cars are nutter anyway.
Well, it's not very bright. But the point is why bring a law in which is then pointless?
Yeah, well, I don't get it, but it's an absolute scandal, the speed camera thing. I told you, didn't I, when I was driving through London the other week, and there's a camera so high up you could hardly see it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it might as well have been a satellite. Yeah. And you can get done on those things. There's another one down on the coast.
But are those not more like?
The
are they not more cameras to sort of just judge the traffic flow and all that kind of thing?
Oh no, these are speed cameras.
Really?
I mean, a camera which judges traffic flow is usually black. And it looks like a camera, if you see what I mean, not like a box. It looks like a camera. It's got aerials coming out the top because it's constantly transmitting pictures back to a control centre where the police can see, there's a build-up on the motorway, right? But a speed camera, I've noticed the really insidious thing they're doing is that the Gatsos, as they're called, were a big yellow box on an arm which had a sort of tributary shape to it, if you see what I mean.
Well, they were forced to paint them yellow so we could see them.
That's right. The pole went up, and then there was an arm at the top of the pole which pushed the camera out well into the view of the driver.
Right.
But what they've done is, and I've noticed this, and it's more dangerous at night, is driving from here now down into Stockbroker Belt, I'm passing cameras that used to be like I've just described, have been replaced by cameras on a very tall black pole. Therefore, the black pole is not obvious to you, certainly not at night when you're a driver. And right on the top of this very tall black pole is a much smaller yellow box with almost like a mouth on it rather than a camera. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. And when they get you, they don't even flash because they're infrared.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that is really...
But have you ever got a ticket from one of these? Or maybe they're not. Maybe they're not doing that, though.
Oh, no. I'm smarter than the average bear. I know what the cameras are, and I haven't had a ticket for about... I think it's over 10 years now.
Yeah, I haven't had a speeding ticket for a very long time.
So,
I got one once going into that tunnel that goes underneath Canary Wharf.
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
You know where you come from the sort of A13 and basically it goes down into 30 miles an hour.
I know.
And it's downhill.
I know, shocking.
And you're coming from 50 into 30.
I know, shocking.
And I was slowing down, and just as I went in the tunnel, because they got loads of them in that tunnel, I got one there.
You know, as you go into that tunnel, by the way, in Limehouse, just to explain to our millions of listeners who don't have to live in London, it's a road called the Highway, which comes down from the Tower of London, and it's 3 lanes on either side, very busy road. And then it goes down to this tunnel, as you quite rightly say. Now, do you remember our great motoring editor at the Express, David?
Yes, David Benson.
David Benson.
You don't have to give his name away, but I just did.
No, well, he's dead. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
He
the time.
He liked a drink, David, and that can be a bit of a problem if you're the motoring editor, you know what I mean? And that's why he used to give me all the cars that turned up at the Express, because I used to go and test drive them for him, because, as I say, he liked to drink, and it's dangerous. But anyway, the point of my story, it's a very good story, this. By the way, do you know David was interviewed to be James Bond?
Was he?
He was a South African, big, tall, very handsome-looking man. And in his youth, I mean, he was a thespian and all this kind of stuff. And he was once told to go and talk to Cubby Broccoli about being James Bond.
Well, before Sean Connery.
For Sean Connery, absolutely, yeah. But anyway, so the point of my story is this. As you go down into the Limehouse Link Tunnel, on the right, there is a very nice row of what you call townhouses, which go down and eventually turn into Narrow Street. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's from the other side. I was talking about coming in from the other side, actually.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. But I'm talking about coming down from the highway into the tunnel, right? Now, what happened was David bought this house when it was a townhouse, and there was no Limehouse Link Tunnel. Right. And you know how big the Limehouse Link Tunnel is? And a week after he moved in, I mean, like an oil rig type thing appeared and started doing holes. And David rang, up the council and said, "What's happening here?" I said, "Oh, we're building a tunnel through from here to Canary Water to the Isle of Dogs." Yeah. And he said, "What?" And he went and saw the plans. It was the biggest tunnel in Britain at the time. Yeah. And it devalued his house by about £200,000.
Dear God.
But he got it all back.
Did he?
He sued them and got it all back. And I used to sit in his lounge, and he told me this story, because I lived in Free Trade Wharf, just up the road. I drank bottle after bottle after bottle of brandy in David's house because he'd become an alcoholic, given up drink, but when he was an alcoholic, he had stored his house with drink in case he woke up in the middle of the night and needed a drink, and now he wanted to get rid of it all, so he used to invite me around to drink it.
Well, that's a great service you provide for him.
I did, yeah.
Now, listen, we're running very late here, so I'm going to get to light for a moment. Coming up soon, we're going to talk spiders. This is Talk Sport.
Spider-Man!
Being spoiled for choice is great. So many broadband providers, so many offers. Until panic sets in. Switching's a hassle. What if something goes wrong and the little voice inside your head is crippled with fear? Maybe I won't switch this time. If you have a fear of switching, fear not. Sky's dedicated Switch Squad helps make moving hassle-free. So switch to Superfast Sky Fibre, now free for 1 year on a 1-year contract, with line rental at $16.40 a month. Sky. Believe in better. Monthly usage cap 25 gigabytes. Selected fibre areas. Speeds vary by location. $6.95 routed delivery. £30 activation. 12-month minimum contract. Further terms apply.
The new Michelin Cross Climate is the first Michelin tyre of its type to combine summer and winter technologies, so you can arm yourself for every weather condition. And if you buy 4 from ATS Euromaster before the end of October, you'll receive a Berghaus jacket. Buy today at atseuromaster.co.uk. ATS. You're in good hands. Subject to availability. Conditions apply.
Do you hear that? An entire DFS workshop filled with craftspeople poised to hand-make any sofa you choose from the half-price new season collection. And that's the sound of another sofa, ready to be delivered to someone's home before... you know when. Half-price, 4 years interest-free credit and guaranteed Christmas delivery. DFS. 0% APR representative.
When you need all the latest form and odds on all the day's sporting action, and you need it fast, you need the Coral Daily Download. Get all the latest news and great offers on all the big games and all the biggest race meetings in one essential package. Delivered to your ears at the speed of sound. Don't miss the Coral Daily Download every morning on the Alan Brazil Sports Breakfast from 6 on Talk Sport with Coral. Your best bet for breakfast.
Investigate the many wondrous mysteries of the universe on the weekend sports breakfast, such as, has Georgie really got a City and Guilds Level 3 diploma in bricklaying? It's evolution, not revolution, every Saturday and Sunday morning from 7, only on Talk Sport.
How you pronounce his name, Professor of Entomology at Pest Education.
Right.
He's going to be able to answer any questions you may have on spiders.
That'd be great.
So if you've got any questions on spiders, you can tweet them into us.
I definitely have. I mean,
at the two mics, if anybody out there's got some questions.
The main question is it true that if you put conkers in your house, it frightens off spiders? Because my mum does that, and I collect them for her.
Yeah, exactly
and,
right.
And we had the story yesterday about the bloke who's selling kilograms of
conkers.
For £1.50 a time. Anyway, listen, I'll tell you what I want to talk to you about before that. Now, I religiously, or is it religiously? It's not religiously, I suppose. As a point of principle, I've never been on a stag night.
Right. Have you been invited to any?
I haven't actually, but to be honest...
Did you not come on my stag night?
No.
And why didn't you come on my stag night?
I've no idea.
Because you were in New York, you came to the wedding.
I definitely...
night,
but I wasn't living there. Remember, I came over for
No, you
your
came
wedding.
over for it, yeah.
I came over
I think it was a couple of nights before.
Yeah,
I didn't want to have it exactly the night before.
No, I wasn't there, so I didn't.
Right.
And the reason I don't get invited to them is I've made it clear I think stag nights are ridiculous. The idea that you've got to go out and get absolutely bladdered on a night out with your mates 3 days before you get married, unless you're a complete nutter and do it the night before, in which case you wouldn't be in a fit state to get married the next day.
Right.
I just think it's
especially
so
with the way some of them end up waking up in some part of the country.
Nonsense
and all
about being chained to blinking lampposts and wheeled home in a supermarket trolley and all that. Pathetic, I mean, why do grown men behave like that? My one last night of freedom.
Well, traditionally it was the one last night of freedom, wasn't it? Because traditionally, it was the case that perhaps you got married for a reason to be with somebody for the rest of time. Now it's not really considered to be that.
Well, I was going to say in the modern world, without sort of glorifying it, when we were young, busting journalists in Fleet Street, executives, whatever, every night was a stag night.
Yeah.
Because, you worked very hard from 7 in the morning till 7 at night, and then you went into the boozer, got bladderated, and you had a good job and you were able to afford it. So why would you want a stag night? I don't know, I've no idea. But anyway, point of my story is...
Yes.
I also think stag nights are offensive to the woman you're marrying because you're starting to say, oh, God, it's going to be such a nightmare with you for the next 25 years. I've got to go out and get bladderated to forget about it all.
And do something lewd.
But this guy's taking it one step further. Stag nights now are not just stag nights. In fact, I had a boss at the start of our radio career, and the only time he'd accept that somebody, had taken a few days off justifiably was if somebody piped up in the, in the regular morning meeting. Oh, no, he's on a stag in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Oh, is he? Oh, that's okay. That was okay.
Right.
So it was kind of, well, it's a very manly thing to do. It's one of the boys. I thought it was pathetic,
And that has become the norm, hasn't it, going abroad somewhere to do
This
it.
is what
so
I'm
it's
saying.
Like a whole weekend.
This is what I'm saying. So a friend of mine's daughter got married recently.
Yeah.
Her prospective husband went on a 3-day stag to Barcelona.
Right.
Well, I just don't get it. If you have one bladderation day, that should be enough. But to have it for 3 days...
Yeah, but they don't just go into kind of, a bar and drink for 3 days. They do other things as well. Like they'll go, I don't know, skydiving.
I think
or
you're right.
Or they'll
they
go
do.
shooting, or they'll go, they'll do sort of different
some of them
adventure-type stuff.
Some of them, believe it or not, go to these ridiculous places where they shoot each other with paintballs.
Yes.
I mean, how pathetic is that?
Well, some people like that kind of thing.
Pathetic, and grown-up men doing that. Yeah, just pathetic. Anyway, the point of my story here is this. I've come across a bloke who's been on he's been on 16 stag nights and travelled 31,000 miles. Do you know what he does?
What does he do?
Well, he hasn't got any mates.
Oh,
so...
well, he doesn't go on people's stag nights because he's invited?
No, what happens is these stag nights are now so expensive, right, that if the groom himself is paying... and somebody pulls out at the last minute. Supposing like 10 of them are going to Barcelona.
Yeah, right.
And the groom's done rather well in life, and he says, well, I'm paying. It's £1,000 each. It's 10 grand, okay?
Right.
And then somebody pulls out. The groom will then auction the spare place on social...
Oh, on eBay or something.
On eBay or something like that. And then...
What, so this guy just turns up?
He just turns up. He's a stranger.
Pays for it, presumably.
He pays for it.
Right.
He might get it half price or 750 quid or something like that. He then has 3 days in Barcelona, cut price, but the groom gets a bit of the money back for the guy who's not turned up.
How bizarre.
Anyway, this guy is called a real-life wedding ringer. He's travelled 31,000 miles in 3 months. He goes on stag do's with complete strangers. His name is Will Stevenson. He's become the go-to man for grooms who have a spare place on their pre-wedding bash. Since jumping on his first weekend to Budapest in June, the 35-year-old has now travelled all across Europe, including Munich, Rome, Ibiza, and 5 other venues, okay?
Must be a nightmare for the people that live in these places as well. I mean, Prague became a big place because it was very cheap.
I mean, some of them have banned it. I think places like Malaga have banned it.
when I was living in Edinburgh, Edinburgh used to be a big place for hen parties.
Right.
And in fact, we were in Newcastle not long ago. There was hen parties going all over
the place.
They were
all over the place, you're right, yeah.
And Dublin's another one as well.
Dublin's another one. The other place, because I was there, and this was years ago, was Latvia, Riga.
Yeah, right.
Riga's a big place.
Yeah, because it's cheap.
But what I'm saying is, Mike, have you ever been on a stag night?
Well, to be honest, I don't think I have, apart from my own.
Yes.
I'm not sure I ever have, because it's not the kind of thing I would really do. You know? And I kind of only really had one sort of reluctantly.
Yeah.
And quite as you say, it was very much a bit more of kind of a
normal night.
A normal night, yeah,
that's right.
With a few extra people kind of thrown in.
Exactly. And by the way, when the numbers get to that, the one thing that I always recline from, because you're in a place and you see all the guys coming in on the stag night, somebody then pipes on and says, oh, well, I'll organise the, what do they call it, you put all the money in? The pot, is it?
Oh, the kitty.
The kitty.
Yeah.
I'll organise the kitty, fellas, come on, tenner up front.
Yeah.
I will not get into organised drinking like that.
I also hate doing anything kind of in a group. I
totally agree with you. I totally agree. Because the thing is, with the organised drinking thing is, you might drink faster than the guy next to you. So when you finish your glass of wine and want another one, do you have to then wait till everybody else has finished their drinks?
I suppose so. I don't know.
I mean, this guy...
We are not experts in this field, obviously.
Get this. It's so ridiculous. Yeah. He said, I never expected to win when I bid for the spare place, but the day after the auction closed, I suddenly got a call and I was off to Budapest with 22 lads I'd never met.
Right.
How about that? Getting on a plane with 22 people you don't know.
Quite a strange thing to do, really. But, I suppose it might be quite fun.
It was a bit scary to start with, but once we got to know each other, it was a great laugh. Will's exploits on the first stag caught the attention of other people who suddenly decided to make it a pastime as well. I mean, this guy's from Nottingham. It's just ridiculous, honestly. Yeah. I think it's absolutely pathetic. If somebody says to me, you come on a stag night, I'd say no. When you say, I've ever been invited to one, I've made it absolutely clear to people, I don't want to know about your stag nights.
Right.
I have no interest, and that's why I've never been asked to be best man at a friend's wedding.
Yeah.
Because I said, I'm
Because
not...
you then have to organise the
You have to organise
or
the
the
stag
stag
night.
weekend.
And I just wouldn't do it.
But the thing is, there's a time of your life when lots of your friends kind of get married, I suppose,
Yes.
as well, which
Yes.
is now past for both of us, to be honest.
Well,
if
exactly,
anybody that we know is getting married now, it tends to be people getting married for the second time, and presumably...
Well, it's
or the
usually
third time.
the children of our friends who get married now. So
and
you
you'd
want to organise their stag night.
feel pretty stupid going out on a stag
Yeah, of
weekend
course
with
you
a load
would.
of 25-year-olds.
Well,
wouldn't you?
mostly because we could outdrink all of them in half an hour. That's I mean, that's not a boast. It's just a fact that we're more practised at it than they are. I also think stag nights are incredibly dangerous because some people who are not big drinkers have to pretend they are, and they have to go and start doing ridiculous things like
shots and things like that.
Well, not just the shots, but give me half a pint of rum, Bacardi, vodka, and then they stand there and all their mates are clapping, and people have died doing it. They should be banned. Stag nights should definitely be banned.
Okay.
I would
that's
ban
a bit extreme.
I would ban stag nights, honest to God.
Yeah.
And the worst one is the old hen night.
Yeah.
How undignified for a young lady to be falling all over the place, smashed out of her brain, face
Well, for
down.
some of them, that's every night as well. Though,
It is in some towns in this country which are well known for bladderation sessions amongst the fairer sex. No, you're absolutely right.
It's true.
But they should all be banned.
All
Should
right.
all be banned, in my view. Ban stag nights.
The benevolent dictator speaks.
No, I think you should. I think you should for the good of the nation.
Okay, well, coming up next, we're going to talk about spiders because we've got Dr. K.
I mean, did the American guys have stag nights? We never saw one there,
yeah,
did
I think
we?
so, yeah.
I don't think we did.
Well, they must have done because I got married in America and we had one.
You know when we went to a wedding in America in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
The groom had 4 best men.
Yeah.
What is that all about?
Well, they have ushers, basically.
No, they had 4 best men lined up at the altar with him.
Did they?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
Maybe.
Apparently they have 4 best men.
Well, I didn't. I only had one.
No, well, you did, but you're English. Yeah, he was American. Yeah,
indeed.
They're all crying as well when they were saying the vows. Like you expect the bride's mother to cry. All the best men were crying. No, we're going to lose Joe.
Maybe they'd all been out. Maybe they'd all been out the night before.
Yeah, maybe.
Suffering, tired and emotional.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, coming up next, we're talking about spiders. We'll get some questions answered and some myths unravelled. This is Talk Sport.
Talk Sport on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
Freedom for sport.
Can we kick it? Yes, we can. Talk Sport.
He's crawling up my wall, black and hairy, very small. Now he's up above my head, hanging by a little thread.
You recognise that?
That's Spiders from Mars.
No, it's Boris the Spider.
Oh, Boris the Spider.
John
okay.
Entwistle, one of the few songs John Entwistle ever performed on stage with the Who.
Really?
Because he wrote it himself.
Oh, really?
It's a big bass track.
Yeah, okay.
Boris the Spider. He was fascinated by spiders. He used to have a spider on his back, actually, quite often.
Did he?
Let's talk about spiders, though, with a man who knows an awful lot about them, Dr. Richard Kay, who is from the University of California at Riverside, where he's been involved in productive research. He's an entomologist. He's an expert on pest education. Dr. Kay, very good morning to you.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, very well
good,
indeed.
thank
Thanks for joining us. We've had a sort of spate of spider stories in this country over the past, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, really. I mean, we keep being told that because of the way that the temperatures are changing and the climate's changing a little bit, we're getting all sorts of different spiders coming to our shores. Is there any reason to suspect that that's happening, or is it just that people are kind of noticing spiders getting bigger?
Yeah, I think it's just... I really doubt that they're coming to your shore. I mean, they have no way of coming across the ocean. So
some of them come in banana boats. Some of them come. People find them in their shopping from time to time, and presumably, if 1 or 2 come, there might be others that you don't spot.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, they do come in occasionally on bananas and things, but the ones that are coming in really aren't dangerous.
Okay. Now, Doc, it's the autumn over here, which is fall, of course, in your language, and we have loads of horse chestnut trees in this country, and the conkers drop to the floor, and then people go around collecting them, and then they put them in their homes because they believe that there is some sort of chemical in the skin of the horse chestnut which puts spiders off, and it's either an urban myth which has been going on for years in this country, or could there be any truth in it?
No, I'm sure it's just an urban myth. There's nothing in horse chestnuts that are going to scare spiders away. I mean, spiders are pretty reclusive anyway, and any chemical that wouldn't really scare them away.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they are reclusive, but there's no doubt that this time of year you definitely see more of them because as it gets a little bit colder in the evenings, they
come in.
You know, if you live down in a country as I do, you find you've got more and more spiders around, being much more visible in the house.
Yeah, that's very possible. And after the summer, they've been reproducing, so obviously they would build up, as opposed to cold weather that kind of keeps them from increasing in numbers. So this time of year, you've been through whatever heat you get and where you're at, and they reproduce faster. So they would be probably more in the house.
Okay, and again, Doctor, maybe it's an urban myth, but my parents told me, my mum and dad, when I was a youngster, never harm a spider, never have a go at a spider. Spiders are the cleanest animals in the whole of the house. They will only clean things up. They don't cause any problems at all. They get rid of flies and all that kind of stuff. Is that true? Is it good to have a few spiders in your house to keep the place looking spick and span?
Yeah, spiders are very good. I mean, they control, the only thing they eat are insects and flies and all that. Spiders are considered beneficial. They eat other insects, and there's very, very few that are really harmful to humans anyway.
Right.
Most even the bigger spiders that you have in England, I went on the website and on the web and looked up the spiders of England, and they mentioned 10. They're the ones that are most commonly can bite people, and 5 or 6 of them don't even have big enough fangs to bite.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's a good place to find spiders on the web, isn't it? That's where I look for them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
What about there was a great story, well, a terrible story actually here about a guy who was travelling on a plane from Qatar, Doha in Qatar to South Africa, British guy, barrister, and he was bitten by a spider which was believed to be a brown recluse spider, and he suffered terrible kind of injuries to his leg. He's had to have skin grafts done and all that kind of thing. It struck me that I suppose one of the ways that spiders could travel would be on planes. I mean, is that a problem, do you think?
That's rare, but that is a rather nasty spider. We have it here in the United States. You guys don't have it. And its bite causes a necrosis or rotting of tissues, and there are people that have actually lost parts of limbs because of that particular spider. Right. If somebody gets by it, they just gets bitten by it. They just cut out sections of their body to get rid of it. It's a nasty spider.
That's horrible, isn't it?
Okay, Doc, as an expert in spiders, can you please explain, if you can, in a few simple words, the magnificence of the composition of a spider's web?
Oh, it's very, very strong. Actually, there's a lot of research going on in relationship to what it's made up of, so they can use it and make fabrics and things out of it. One spider expert once postulated that if you had a spider web the size of or the width of a pencil, it could stop a plane in midair. And that's how strong it is.
Wow. Golly, that's incredible. And what about the pattern which is woven by the spider? How does that happen? I mean, does the spider walk in a particular way? Or, I'm constantly, at this time of the year, when the dew settles on spiders' webs in the morning, the magnificence of that web never fails to amaze me. How do they get the symmetry to the pattern of the web?
Well, obviously, it's inborn in them, and they swing. They actually form strands radiating out from the middle, and they just kind of go around in circles along those strands.
That is incredible.
It's a spider graph.
It is a spider graph, yeah. It is absolutely
Now, I've got
incredible.
a question here.
Yeah.
We asked for some people to tweet us in questions. I've got one from Becky, who lives in New Zealand, who says, could we please ask you, what is the world's largest spider? How big does it grow? And where is it found?
There's one in South America called the Goliath spider, which is about the size of a dinner plate. Their body is about the size of your fist. They're not really dangerous, but they do have big fangs. We once got one in over at school, and the other entomologist and I looked at it, and we said, do you want to feed it? And neither one of us wanted to hold it. And we fed it a mouse, and we came back the next day, and it was just a little ball of fur left.
Oh, my God.
So, they're not dangerous, but they're huge.
Shocking.
The natives actually eat them there.
Have you ever encountered anything similar to what happened in arachnophobia, where two spiders from different sort of species, if you like, or different types of spiders have mated and created something horrible?
No, that's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. You never know.
Well,
Never
thank you,
know.
Dr. K. That's Dr. Richard Kay, Professor of Entomology, who's certainly debunked your mother's theory about the old conkers, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has a bit, yeah. But, I mean, are conkers the same in America as they are here?
They don't really have horse chestnuts there in the same way.
I don't think I've ever seen them. You know, walking through Central Park at this time of the year...
No, I mean, it's
an
a very
awful
British,
British
thing.
awful lot of leaves knocking around on the floor. That's why they call it the fall. But I don't remember ever being hit on the head by a conker in Central Park.
Although they do eat chestnuts. I think they have the spiky kind. You know, not the kind with the small spikes, but the big hairy spikes. I think they have those kind. Because remember, if you were walking around the streets, especially at Christmas time, there's always a guy frying up chestnuts.
Yeah, you would smell the chestnuts being fried.
But I think those are like more the sweet chestnuts rather than the horse chestnuts.
In fact, wasn't one of the heroes of one of the Home Alone films a person who was frying chestnuts on the street in New York?
Maybe.
I'm sure it was, the bird woman. The bird woman. She was chestnut fryer.
It's very much a sort of staple of what you see when you walk around the streets of Manhattan, isn't
it? Certainly is.
Yeah. But I don't think those are horse chestnuts. I think you can't eat horse chestnuts. Because you can buy those chestnuts here, and you can cook them and make all sorts of things with them.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't recommend eating a horse chestnut.
Oh, no, you definitely can't eat horse chestnuts. They're poisonous, I think.
Well, I think
you'd be mad to eat them, yeah. And then again, you know, if you were starving and hungry and all that kind of stuff, you eat anything, I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose if you lived in North Korea and you had the choice of eating the bark off a tree or eating the horse chestnuts that fell from the tree, you'd probably eat the horse chestnuts, wouldn't you?
I imagine you probably would, yeah.
Can't be much fun living in North Korea and having to eat horse chestnuts, I tell you.
What did you make of him saying that he looked up the old English spiders on the web? I thought that was a strange thing to say.
Well, perhaps he's not been to England. Perhaps he's never been associated with English spiders.
I suppose you didn't accuse me of not knowing what he was talking about, like you usually do.
Well, I didn't want to do that because I have to admit I'm not a spider expert, but my mother always told me, my dad, don't hurt spiders, they're clean and they keep the house clean.
Yeah, no, I don't kill them.
No, I don't.
I
couldn't kill a creature anyway. I
don't talk rubbish.
No, I couldn't.
What about when you sprayed the ant's nest? And the ladybirds?
Well, I kill ants because ants are filthy little things, you know, go running around.
And what about the ladybirds?
I like treading on ants, actually.
And what about the ladybirds?
No, ladybirds.
You killed a load of ladybirds, yes, you did.
I had to because they were foreign ladybirds and they were leaving like a horrible sort of puce-like yellow liquid lying around. So I sprayed them all with ammonia.
Right. So when you say you couldn't bring yourself to kill a creature, that's not quite what you mean, is it?
No, I mean, you know, actually hit it or directly kill
so
it.
So to spray it with some poison.
Well, it wasn't really poison. It just made them like
dead.
Yeah, it just made them stiff and dead. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, that's what poison will do. Funnily enough.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right, we got lots more coming up. Don't forget Porky Vision in a little while, and we'll have a look at some of the more unusual stories knocking around in the papers as well. This is Talk Sport.
Absolutely.
Winston Wolfe, I understand you're on your way to a big job. You're day one, and I imagine you'll be displeased if you run into trouble in the form of another car and you end up off the road. Well, with Direct Line, you won't have to wait until your car goes into repair to get a hire car. Now, gentlemen and ladies, get to work.
Hire a car from when yours is out of action, as standard. Can your car insurance do that? For non-drivable cars, comprehensive cover required, small hatchback provided as standard. Excludes windscreen and customer delay claims. Underwritten by UK Insurance Limited.
Darling, what's wrong?
I missed a call. It was that big order. And when I called back, he'd already gone with another supplier.
Why didn't we have e-receptionist answering and directing our calls? Avoid the horror of the missed call from just 30p a day with e-receptionist. Visit ereceptionist.co.uk for your free 30-day trial.
Free trial must be cancelled within 30 days to avoid fees.
The BMW i3. It's not just an electric car. It's an electric car that drives like a BMW. Rentals from £299 per month. Discover more at bmw.co.uk/i3. £3,699 initial rental, 36-month hire agreement from BMW Financial Services, subject to status and availability for new vehicles ordered before 31st of December 2015 and registered by 31st of March 2016. UK only guarantees may be required. Mileage and other conditions apply when you return the vehicle.
As Hector faced Achilles to defend the Trojan soil, one champion will emerge to take the final spoils. As rugby's elite battle it out, listen to Hawksbee and Jacobs Rugby Roundup for expert analysis of all the action throughout the tournament. Hawksbee and Jacobs Rugby Roundup on Talk Sport with Jewson, with over 600,000 products and solutions from everyday core essentials to the latest sustainable solutions. See jewson.co.uk.
Talk Sport. Wiry, thin and whip it quick.
Hang on, there's a streaker on the pitch.
Talk Sport.
Today you and I are not the same. You say you like the sun, I like the rain. So before we go, do it all again. You better catch your own train.
This is Talk Sport. We are the Two Mites. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on, of course. Hope that was very informative about spiders. A couple of tweets that have come in that I should read out. JPK says this. Why not talk about the decision that LVG soon has to make to remove his waning captain, who debilitates game by game? I think it's sort of about Wayne Rooney.
Yeah.
We might get into that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Here's one from James. He
Yes.
says, a few minutes into the show and the snob persona of Mike Porky Parry shows up. Who goes to Cost Cutter to buy coffee?
Well, sorry, what's snobbish about that? Cost cutters
seems the opposite of snobbery.
Yeah, exactly. Perfectly normal. Hey, listen, talking about snobbery, by the way.
Yeah.
I've been reading up on Eton. And,
Have you?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I always had an ambition to go to Eton. I would have made a great Etonian.
You would have made a terrible Etonian.
No, I wouldn't.
They would have
no.
all looked down on you like some kind of peasant.
But the reason why I've seen this report on Eton is that everybody said the age of the Etonian had gone. Because remember Harold Macmillan?
Yeah.
You never heard it so
Well, I
good.
don't remember him, actually.
But
No.
you know he was a former Prime Minister.
Yes, of course, yeah.
In the late 50s.
Yeah.
And he coined the famous expression, "You've never heard it so good."
True.
You know, because there was a sort of consumer boom in in 10 years after the war, you know.
And then it was Harold Wilson with the white-hot technological
White-hot
revolution.
technological revolution, which sort of fizzled out a bit.
Yeah.
But if you think about it today, let me get this right. The Etonians occupy the positions of Prime Minister in this country, the Archbishop of Canterbury, the Mayor of London, and if Zach Goldsmith is confirmed as the Conservative mayoral candidate in London, he looks like he's going to be the next old Etonian to hold the top position, you know?
Right.
And, of course, the Cabinet is littered with Etonians.
Yeah.
Now, I read this report about what makes an Etonian. Apparently, the first thing you're taught when you get there is how to oil.
Oil what?
Well, just how to oil. It's called a charm offensive against society.
Yeah.
Old Etonians are taught how to, grease through life.
Yeah.
And it's called oiling.
That doesn't surprise me.
Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all.
And you're given the minute you go there, you assume a sort of sense of superiority.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because you've come from a very wealthy background or that your father is a lord or something like that, but apparently...
Well, it helps though, doesn't it?
Well, of course it helps. And apparently, when you go there, and some go there as young as 11 years of age... You are treated as an adult from day one, and you are taught that to achieve the responsibilities of the older boys, and the elite lot are called POP, P-O-P, this is an elite body of prefects who've been the chosen ones, you have got to start acting like an adult from day one. That you're not allowed to act like a schoolboy. You have to act and think like an adult.
Right.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, it's not amazing, no. I mean, I would never send any of my children to a school like that. I think it was a horrendous experience.
Well, I went to a school like that,
No,
of course.
you did not.
I did. I went to an
you
English
went
public
to
school.
a grammar school.
No, I went to the King's School Chester.
Yeah, I know, but it's a grammar school, isn't it?
No, it's on the Headmasters' Register, which is an organisation which is a collective of the public schools in this country, and my school's
Well,
on
they didn't teach you how to oil up there, did they?
Yes, they did, yes.
Oiling is not something that I would say is one of your renowned skills.
Well, I'm not as diplomatic as, say, David Cameron or somebody like that for obvious reasons.
No.
But nevertheless, I do understand how to integrate myself into maybe...
What?
Influential
Would you say
areas of life.
Well, yeah, but it's not about that.
You
It's
know what
about
I mean?
whether you can actually persuade people to do something perhaps they don't want to do. I mean, that's what diplomacy's all about, isn't it? That's what, the whole world of politics is about.
I suppose
you
so.
sitting opposite somebody who doesn't want to do what you want them to do. You've got to get them to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you know who else?
What do you mean, yeah?
Yes.
I can tell, once again, you're taking no attention
I'm
to
studying
what I'm
my
saying.
Eton report because I want to tell you some more fascinating things.
It's typical of you to think Eton is a great place.
Do
Typical.
you know who Bear Grylls is?
Yes.
What is he?
He's a television presenter.
He's also an old Etonian.
He's an outdoorsman, isn't he?
Did you know that? Old
I knew he was
Etonian?
an old Etonian, yeah.
Eddie Redmayne, the actor.
Yeah.
Old Etonian.
Yeah.
The Theory of Everything.
Yeah. Have you seen that, by the way?
No.
I saw it over a few months ago.
Any good?
It was all right, yeah.
It was all right, yeah. Not massive, though.
It wasn't it wasn't something that I would beat down the doors of a cinema to go and see.
He won an Oscar for it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Now, Damien Lewis.
Old
Etonian.
He's another one, yeah.
He played Homeland, right? Have you ever seen Homeland?
No, he was in Homeland. Homeland's brilliant. You should watch Homeland.
Okay, I might get the box set.
It's on Netflix.
More recently, he played Henry VIII in Wolf Hall.
Yeah, and funnily enough, there's a quiz on Henry VIII coming up.
There is,
the
tomorrow
next
night.
24 hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wonder if there'll be any questions about Wolf Hall. I can't say if there will be. Obviously, I don't do
a bit of a clue.
Well, no, it's not a bit of a clue. I don't put the questions together.
Right, okay. Now, at Eton, right, you get a housemaster.
Yeah.
And you get a Dane. And
what?
Yeah,
a Dane?
There ain't
What,
nothing
someone from
like
Denmark?
a Dane.
Oh, I thought you said a Dane.
Dame, D-A-M-E.
A dame?
Yeah.
Why'd you get a dame? What, like Judi Dench turns up?
No, the dame is a kind of matron whom you address as mom,
Right.
which rhymes with ham. So it's mam.
It's not mom, then, is
It's
it?
not mom, unless you produce ham harm.
Unless you call it harm.
Mom,
Right.
I'd like a harm sandwich, please.
Yeah. Or a pig's head, maybe.
No, we're getting into that. And then you gradually develop correct etiquette.
Correct what?
Etiquette. What's your problem?
It's etiquette.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. And
you'd be hopeless in a place like that.
One of the first
you would be fagged to within an inch of your life, and I mean that's one of the things. It's one of the reasons I wouldn't send a child. Yeah,
what's that?
Well, because the young kids, right, become basically the slaves of the older kids, and they make them do things like go and clean my shoes, or run over there and get me a box of chocolate.
And
or
are you still
whatever.
thrashed if you don't do it properly?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we've never really heard. But it's a horrendous idea.
Yeah, and apparently the first thing you're taught to do in life is always write thank you notes to people who've been good to you.
Is that what you do?
I do, all the time.
You've never written me a thank you note.
Well, you've never done anything good for me.
What do you mean I've never done anything good for you?
I've spent my life battling against your idiocy, your inefficiency, your incompetence.
Well, what would you consider...
And your slovenly bladderation.
What would you consider doing something good for you, then? What would qualify for a thank you note from the Porkmeister?
OK, well, if we, for instance, get invited into somebody's box at a football match, I notice it's always me who writes a thank you note on your behalf.
Well, because you're always claiming you're the one that gets invited.
I'm not at all, and it's always, I mean...
I can't write a thank you note to something I haven't been invited to.
Yeah, but hang on, you've been in a box with me.
Yeah, but
Did you ever send a thank you note to the person who was the host?
No, because you can't send a thank you note.
Because you're a pig.
No, you can't send a thank you note if you haven't received an invitation to something.
Oh, excuse me.
I've never received an invitation
Excuse
to
me.
it.
Once you've enjoyed that hospitality...
No, not true.
It is then your responsibility
you see,
to
that's
find
wrong.
out who your host was.
You see, that's where you're
to
wrong.
Send a thank you. I send thank you notes all the time.
Yeah.
I send thank you notes to my own family when I spent the weekend there.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I do.
Do they come back, return to sender?
No, they don't at all. They say, that was very thoughtful, Mike. Thanks very much indeed,
Well, what do you say in these notes?
I say, thank you very much for...
Dear Mrs. Parry.
No, you idiot. If it's...
What do you write? Who do you write a thank you note to?
My sister.
So, right, so dear, we don't have to give her a name, right?
I say,
she's not dead yet.
Dear
so-and-so, right? What do you say?
I say, what a fabulous weekend to get all the family together. It was so smiling. Thank you ever so much for all your hard work, the cooking and all that. It was a great weekend. I'll see you soon, love you and all that. What's wrong with that?
How do you sign it off? Your brother Michael?
No, I sign it off as...
That's bizarre.
I sign it off, actually, as Mikey.
Mikey?
Yes. What's your problem?
Mikey, that's your new name.
No.
Mikey Parry.
No, that's...
Mikey Parry, you're angry for a job on Virgin now.
No.
Mikey Parry.
No.
With the latest hits from the 50s.
No, I'm known to my family as Mikey. That's an affectionate term, you see what I mean?
Really? I bet they've got a few other terms for you as well.
No, they haven't. They haven't got any terms for me at all.
Here comes Mikey.
No, you idiot.
Oh, look, he's carrying a kind of crate of wine with him.
What? No, not at all. Now then...
No, the point about etiquette, right, which has clearly passed you by, is that if somebody invites you as my friend, right, or broadcasting colleague, whatever you wish to call it, right, it would be remiss of me to thank them for inviting me, because they haven't invited me, they've invited you to bring me along.
No.
So if I was to step on your toes and send a thank you note, that would actually be remiss, that would be wrong.
No.
That's the bit you don't understand.
You wouldn't have to write a note to thank them for the invitation. You would have to, you should
No,
feel,
I think that's out of my, outside of my remit.
No, you should feel that you can write them a note to say, I wanted to thank you very much for your hospitality.
But I would
There's
feel
wrong with that.
But I would be treading on your toes.
Rubbish. It's
that's
just
why I would feel that.
You're too damned idle and...
not true.
And ill-educated because you went to some bog-standard, Sink Estate Comprehensive, didn't you?
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah,
no.
I think you did.
No, I went to a grammar school in Kensington.
And you're
I think you'll find.
too ill-educated
not
to do any of that.
god-awful part of Chester.
See, it would have been great
to... council estate.
Would have been great to have gone to Eton. Guess who else went to Eton?
I would no longer want to go to Eton, and I want to go to a war zone. I would hate to have gone to Eton.
Imagine floozing around a cocktail bar in New York and being able to tell a young lady...
Well, you probably did tell people you went to Eton. I bet you did.
No, I didn't.
I bet you did.
No, I said I was a product of the English public school system, which is true. But imagine...
It's not much of an advert, really, is it?
Imagine, squiring yourself around New York, cocktail bar, a young lady over there, and you say, oh, yes, well, at Eton... imagine being able to say that. It'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Well, no, it wouldn't. No, because one, it would be lying, right? Which I know you prefer to do to tell you the truth.
No.
But I'm perfectly happy to be myself. So if I meet a young lady in New York or anywhere else,
I tell you what,
I'd tell them exactly where I'm from and exactly what I do.
If you're perfectly happy to be yourself, you're very self-satisfied in life. No wonder
I am quite self-satisfied. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's only because of the whole sort of terrible, horrendous damage psychologically that you've suffered that you're not happy with who you are. You don't like to be in your own skin. You want to be in somebody else's.
It's no wonder most people regard you as a loser and a bum.
Most people don't regard me as that, actually.
Now then, what I was going to say is, imagine having gone to the same school as people like Shelley. You know who Shelley was?
Shelley?
Yeah.
Shelley Winters?
No, you idiot. Don't be so
You mean Shelley the poet?
Of course.
Yeah.
The Duke of Wellington.
Don't care.
The Duke of Wellington.
The guy who invented the boots.
Yeah, he did, actually. Yeah, Duke of Wellington. George Orwell.
Yeah.
Prince
George
Harry.
Osborne.
Prince Harry. George Osborne.
Yeah, so what? That doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, you are pathetic. If you really think that you're a better person in life because you went to school with a few people who are so much, as far as you're concerned, better than you.
Yes.
I think that's pathetic.
Now,
it's quite sad.
What you're taught to do is on day one, right? You have to tone down your snobbery and poshness. Because
well, that wouldn't be a problem for you.
Because you mustn't be seen to be an oik, okay?
Yeah, well, you would be an oik there.
No, I wouldn't. No, and never talk about what your father does for a living. Never talk about money, okay?
Yeah.
And now you have now at normal schools you have school exams, right?
Yeah.
Guess what you have at Eton? Trials.
Trials for what?
Well, they're called trials. And
I don't know why you're so fascinated with this place.
Well, because I think it's a fascinating...
I think the problem with Eton is it sums up everything that's wrong with Britain.
Have you ever been...
Best thing they could do is to close down every single public school in this country and make everyone go to a state school. That would be far better.
Don't be ridiculous. Have you ever been to Eton College?
Well, I've been to Windsor and I've been to Eton. I haven't walked around the quadrangle.
Oh, I have. I've walked around Eton College.
Why?
It's magnificent.
Well, why'd you go there?
Gives you this huge sort of awe-inspiring feeling of greatness, you know what I mean?
Really?
Well, don't you know that the British Empire was...
Coming from Chester, anything would give you that.
The British Empire was founded on the playing fields of Eton.
I don't care.
Don't you realise that?
It means nothing to me. Why did you go there?
I went there because I was in the area and I thought I'm going to have a look at Eton College. That's why. It was in
So you went in and said, do you mind if I come in and creep about for a while?
No, you could because it was the summer recess.
Do you mind if I do it on my hands and knees?
It was the summer recess. I tell you what, when I was the all-powerful news editor of the Daily Express, we had...
Not quite.
I had a Thames Valley correspondent called John Coles.
Oh, yeah.
And
I know John.
He won't mind me using his name.
Yeah, he's not dead.
He was very good. He's not dead, definitely not dead. And he had
He went to work at the Sun, didn't he?
He did actually end up at the Sun, that's right, yeah. And anyway, the point is, what the story is, he made a great contact of the headmaster of Eton. And we used to get great stories from there. Not that the headmaster was
you don't want to give that away.
No, he wasn't giving, tales out of school or anything like that. But I mean, great stories about how great Eton was, and the great things it did. It would have been marvellous. See, I liked Brideshead Revisited, because I thought they were great people.
Did you want it to be one of those, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And they all came from
Have you seen The Talented Mr. Ripley?
No. Is that good?
Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it.
Oh, yeah? What's that about?
Well, it's about
Eton.
It's about people who are from a sort of fairly privileged background at a certain time of the century.
Yes.
But it's a fantastic show about a guy who, a little bit like you, tries to insert himself in to the kind of whole arena that they operate in,
I
right?
see.
And ends up being a rather despicable character.
Yes.
What do you mean, I see? You're not even listening to me.
Yes, I am listening to you. I am listening. Don't worry.
Who did I say starred in the film?
Mr. Ripley.
Mr.
Ripley, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't say who starred in the film, so you weren't even listening to what I was saying, were you?
Well, that's no wonder I didn't know who he was.
Well, Matt Damon's in it, right?
Matt
Jude Law.
Damon?
Not Damien, no. That's the
Matt
Omen.
Damon, are you talking about like...
Matt Damon.
You're talking about the What's-Her-Namer inquiry?
The What's-Her-Namer inquiry?
You know what it's called.
Do you mean the Born Supremacy?
Born Supremacy,
yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
That's the one I was talking about.
Jude Law's in it as well.
Jude Law?
Yeah.
Jude Law. Do you know the best role Jude Law ever played? I
don't know, the What's-Her-Namer factory?
No, I know this for a fact. The assassin in The Road to Perdition.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that?
I've seen The Road to Perdition, yeah.
Brilliant, isn't it?
I didn't think it was that good, actually.
I thought it was fantastic.
Was
Tom
right.
Hanks, he drove through the night. I drove all night to find Mr. Big in Chicago. When
Mr. Big, the guy from Sex and the City?
No, you idiot.
What was he doing in it?
Well, what happened was...
We haven't got time for this.
Listen, just to finish off on Eton...
I've had enough of Eton.
There's
I
a
couldn't care less about Eton.
There's a board there. There's a
Eton
board
mess
there.
is the only thing I like from Eton.
There's a board there as you leave the college, and
board?
it says, guess what it says? Everybody trusts an Etonian. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's
isn't
not
it?
true, though,
Imagine
is it?
going anywhere in the world and be a trusted man.
Yeah.
All you'd have to do is step off the boat somewhere, and the minute the old local Raj came up and said hello to you, you'd say, "Hi, I'm an Etonian."
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The pressure's on now.
Relieve the itch. Talk sport.
Well, you've got quite a few
Yes.
tweets and
I've got loads.
various messages to read
I mean,
out. Well,
people are very excited about the Eurovision project.
yeah, would you
okay?
like to read some of them out there?
Well, Amy says to the two Mikes, to Mike Parry, Porky for Eurovision, absolute genius. You've got my vote. Vote Mike Parry. Great show, fellas. Thank you, Amy. That is a lovely note.
OK, well, Bob from Sheffield has got some lyrics for you. He says, here's an idea for your song. He says, I don't tell lies, I'm just a romancer, I'm not very deep, I'm just a chancer.
Yeah.
But you'll find out that I really do have feelings so true. He says, put music to that and you'll have a winner.
A little basic, I'm afraid. My lyrics will be deeper and more meaningful. Pauline says, hi, fellas. If you're putting together the tour agenda for next year, the World Tour, the two Mike, please do a live show in Cyprus. Expats would love your show. Sun, sea and bladderation. What more could a person want?
It's a good idea, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we should go somewhere nice and hot. Now, here's one from Mark, who says, I was at grammar school. It can ruin you when you fail. He says, when you don't do what your peers feel. I work for a cab firm now.
Yeah, well, working as a cab for a cab firm is a very noble profession. It's very hard work because you have to put the hours in to earn the money. So I admire that enormously. But believe me, failure is one aspect of life. Success is another. And you've heard the old expression: try, and try again until you succeed.
Also involved a spider, that, didn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and failure should promote you to try and do things.
Robert the Bruce,
exactly.
Robert the Bruce, because he watched the spider making his web.
He certainly did.
8 times.
He did.
And realised in the cave that actually he could keep trying and he might succeed.
Exactly, that's absolutely right. Now, Bill is a little bit more negative. He says, if Porky sings at Eurovision, it will have the same effect as the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand before World War I.
Yeah.
Apocalypse. That was in Serbia, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
Croatia.
Yeah, it was in Serbia, I think.
Serbia, I think, wasn't it?
It was indeed.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. To be honest, I never really got into the history of the First World War as deeply as I got into the history of the Second World War, because I found the politics of Europe far too confusing in the run-up to the Second World War.
It was very confusing.
Very
actually.
confusing.
Yeah.
You know, the Habsburg Empire and all that kind of stuff, and who was on whose side, and why did we take all the troops over to France and then sit there for 4 years and nothing happened. But anyway, there you go. Well, a lot happened, actually. The Battle of the Somme happened. 50,000 men were killed on the first day of the Battle of the Somme. But I don't know why we were fighting it. The Germans weren't trying to invade France, you know.
Well, no, but I mean, they were trying to take over all of Europe.
Yeah, they were, that's true.
Yeah, so that was why they did it.
Yeah.
Here's one from Mac, who says, Porky, you remind me of an Eton mess. That's about the only good thing I can associate with Eton.
Eton mess is a dessert, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a bit like a trifle.
That's right, I've seen that, yeah. Right, here we go. The only Eton pork should be worried about is what has been. Pork life. What does that mean?
I think he means what you've eaten, rather than anything
Oh,
to do
I
with eating
see.
at school.
E-A-T-E-N.
Yeah.
A bit of a play on words, I see, yeah.
Pranav says, could Mike Parry survive alone on a deserted island like Tom Hanks did in Castaway?
Could I exist on a
desert island, I guess
island.
is what you're saying.
Well,
we asked you a question about this on Ask Porky, didn't we?
Yes, we
and
did.
you said the one thing you would miss was the morning papers.
The morning papers, absolutely right, yeah. The thing is that any challenge in life you should be up for, right?
Yeah.
Literally, any challenge in life. So, for instance, if your car breaks down...
Yeah.
It becomes a heap of junk. That's all it is. If a car's not working, it's just a huge heap of junk.
Yeah, but it can be fixed, though. Things can break down and be fixed.
But the challenge for me was always getting home if your car broke down and getting the car home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, would you think about pushing it if the hill was in the right direction?
Did you ever have to do that?
I did once. I did. I managed to push the car down a hill to home. But the problem was, when I jumped in to try and stop it...
Yeah.
Something didn't... Oh, I know it didn't work. The steering wheel. No, seriously, because I hadn't switched the engine on.
They didn't really have steering locks in those days, though, did they?
No, they did, honestly,
Really?
because the engine wasn't switched on.
Yeah. The steering wheels were massive in those days,
Yeah,
weren't they?
they're massive, but it wouldn't turn anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but because, I mean, I thought on some of the older cars... The steering locks just didn't really exist. I
don't know why it locked up. The steering wheel definitely locked up.
So what happened to the car then? Did you crash it into something?
No, I didn't. I managed to stop it in time, but it was going in a straight direction and it was going across the road.
Oh dear!
Could have been disaster.
Could have been fatal. Though.
Right, another one here arguing with you. Right?
Yeah.
It says here. I agree with Porky on this one and not MG. Abolishing public schools like Eton would be madness. They are great for Britain. So there you go.
Well, I don't think they are. You see, one of the reasons that the inequality exists in this country is because not everybody has the same opportunity to do things.
Yes.
Whereas if everybody had the opportunity to mix with each other and go to the same schools, I think everything would be better.
That's right. And it says here as well to both of us...
That's right. You don't agree with me. You've just agreed with me because you weren't listening.
I don't mind you putting your point of view forward.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Yes, that's okay.
Excellent.
One here from Demian, not Damien, Demian, and it says, nothing makes the LA traffic better than your banter, boys. Keep it up. Cheers and thanks for the last. Much respect.
LA traffic's awful, isn't
That's
it?
nice because in LA at the moment it's 7 o'clock in the evening, 10 past 7, and it will be horrendous, won't it?
Yeah.
Down on Sunset Boulevard and all that.
Well, just on the highways as well.
Exactly. Well, particularly on the highways going in and out, going up the valley, the Encino Valley.
One of the things I was amazed at
going out to Santa Monica on the freeway.
One of the things I was amazed at there was the way that people have such lane discipline. Like if they're going off at an exit, they'll literally queue up for miles.
I know,
to get off.
Mad.
And I remember the first time I was there.
Instead of trying to butt in,
Well, the first time I was there, it's exactly what I did.
Exactly,
well, not because I didn't realise,
No.
because I was looking for the sign, and finally I saw the sign, and I went, oh dear, I've just been passing this line of cars for about 10 minutes.
That's right.
And I just put my indicator on. I was just, oh, sorry, I have to go in.
Yeah.
And people have said to me, whatever you do, don't get involved in road rage incidents in California because they carry guns in the cars.
Absolutely.
And somebody might shoot you.
They're all mad.
They're
all mad.
But they were very angry, but they let me in the end.
Yeah, exactly. You just plead the foreigner thing, I'm sorry, mate, I didn't know.
I went to Eton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I went to Eton. So when you pipe down, you loudmouthed American. So here we go. It says, right, I want to challenge Mike Parry to a drinking contest with me. If he thinks he can outdrink me, I'm only 21. I could outdrink him. No, honestly, Sonny, only a third of my heart works.
Sonny?
Yeah. This guy's name is Luke.
Yeah.
And believe me, you wouldn't last an hour or 2 hours. I've seen so many people over the years since I've been here who've sort of, swaggered up to Alan Brazil, for instance, in a bar, and all these stories about you drinking. It's all a myth, isn't it? And I would say, well, probably, because he's not a very combative bloke.
No,
like
not
that,
really.
Al.
No.
Al's a very modest man.
No.
And he's had a.
Well, also, he doesn't consider himself to be a big drinker.
No, he
anyway.
doesn't. No, he doesn't actually. I've never seen Al intoxicated.
No.
I know that sounds ridiculous.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, come off it." I've never seen Al drunk.
No.
So and been working with him for 15 years.
Yeah.
But people will try and have a go, and they'll sit down, and the number of people we've picked up off the floor, we've found it. There was a guy once. I was joking. It was so funny. This guy was he was quite a big cheese in the city. He made a lot of money, but. Yeah. He also claimed that was the best drinking establishment of all, was the City of London. Because these guys would get in the middle of the night, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and, they'd be free by about sort of 12 or 1 o'clock because they'd been dealing in Japanese futures or something like that, and they all claimed they were massive drinkers.
Yeah.
And a number of them came up, and there was one guy one time, and I was with our very dear friend Lorraine, who works here, And we were sitting there, and this guy was trying to outdrink Al at the bar. Right. It was so hilarious because in the end, the bloke was literally holding on to the edge of the bar just to stand upright to save himself falling backwards. And he did this for about 20 minutes until Al offered him another drink, and then I let go of the bar to hold the drink, and he literally just fell backwards and smashed his head on the floor. He couldn't stand up any longer.
Yeah, I'm sure.
We've seen people
that
carried out of establishments, but there we go.
Yeah. Mark says this. Let me read you this. Oh, Porky, man of the people, wished he'd been an Etonian. Etiquette or not, Mikey has blown that.
What do you mean?
Well, I think he means because you mispronounced etiquette.
Yeah,
you would probably not be welcome there.
Right, now listen, getting back to a bit of the old Jose stuff, right?
Yeah,
I notice, just looking through the old websites and all that kind of stuff, that there's actually a fan movement now to get John Terry back in the team. Have you seen this?
Yeah, well, apparently I was hearing that after the game finished over in Porto yesterday, John Terry went out onto the pitch and did some training on his own.
That's it.
Now, you'd have to say, if you're John Terry, you know exactly what's going to happen if you do that, right? Now, that is not the act of a man who is thinking to himself, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll go out and do a bit of training because I'm feeling a little bit, like I'm under-trained.
I haven't played.
He knew exactly what he was doing there, didn't he?
Yeah, it says here, Chelsea supporters were still being held high inside the Draga Stadium last night when John Terry emerged from the tunnel to perform a set of sprints and exercises. Most of those who had witnessed Porto's 2-1 win in the Champions League on Tuesday had filed out happily into the night, but those who had made the trip from London rose to greet Terry and launched into a chorus of "We want our captain back." Terry responded with the usual display of mutual appreciation, except this time there was an extra resonance. Terry had been an unused substitute in Porto, as he has been for 4 of the last 5 games.
Yeah.
So the fans are now mounting a campaign to get him back into the team.
Well, the fans, rather like us, can't quite understand what's going on. They can't quite understand why Jose's behaving the way he is.
Right.
Nobody's got an explanation for it.
You can't make allegations and you can't make insinuations, but you have to wonder whether there is some form of communication breakdown between John Terry and other people at the club.
Well, there is.
Which has led to him spending 4 of the last 5 games on the subs bench and not being introduced to the game.
Yeah, well, there's
because
a story.
He's still regarded as Britain's best defender
and he's
by
the captain,
many people.
And he's still regarded by a lot of the fans as the captain of the club.
And the leader of the club.
You know, so it seems extraordinary that he's not being used. There's a piece, in fact, I think it's in the Guardian, on the back page of the Guardian today, sports section, saying that there's a worry about this scapegoating that's been going on in the dressing room by Jose Mourinho. That so there's still some clues starting to appear. Chelsea players concerned about Mourinho's perceived scapegoating, it says. Concern is growing within the Chelsea dressing room at the perceived scapegoating of certain players by Jose Mourinho after the champions' desperately poor start to the season. Decision not to take Oscar and Loic Remy to Porto in midweek,
that was odd,
and the
it?
continued absence of John Terry from the starting lineup are understood to have surprised senior squad members.
It's very unusual indeed. Yeah, well, I have to say, it's
all very mysterious.
It's
I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it one of these days.
Of course we will.
But however, right now, it's time to look into the light. We've got Porky Vision coming up very, very shortly. This is Talk Sport.
In the dark days, many millions were lost.
What should I do, Master?
Seek the guidance of Stanton Fisher. Only then can what is owed be returned.
Does claiming your PPI back feel like an epic quest? Make light work of it with Stanton Fisher. All you need is the name of your lender and we'll do the rest. To start your PPI claim, simply text HAVE to 80011. That's HAVE to 80011.
Stanton Fisher, helping you claim what is yours.
There's a person who can spot threats in the sky before they become threats. They can reassemble a pistol in 15 seconds and maintain equipment so advanced most don't even know it exists. That person's you. There are more than 50 roles to choose from in the RAF. You'll receive world-class training to develop new and existing skills. And you can do it full-time as a regular or in your spare time as a reserve. Find your role in the RAF. Search RAF Recruitment now.
Take 2 days of action-packed thoroughbred racing at Ascot. Add 280 of the nation's finest ales, ciders and perries. Mix generously with live entertainment. And leave to brew. Finally, serve to your guests. The Autumn Racing Weekend and Camera Beer Festival. Lovingly crafted just for you on Friday the 2nd and Saturday the 3rd of October. Book now at ascot.co.uk.
Whether they're first past the post at Cheltenham or in off the post at the Berlin Ground, whether they're scrumming down at Twickenham or throwing arrows at the O2, whether they're teeing off at Augusta or stopping for tea at Old Trafford, get closer to the action with all the latest form and odds from Betway's betting expert every weekend on the Weekend Sports Breakfast. Saturday and Sunday mornings from 7 on Talk Sport with Betway. Get closer to the action with Betway.
Hawksby and Jacobs.
Don't touch that dial.
That's right. This afternoon from 1.
It's not great radio, is it? Me looking at your laptop.
Talk Sport.
Winding your way down on Baker Street, light in your head and dead on your feet. Well, another crazy day. You'll drink the night away and forget about everything. This city desert.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics, and it is Porky Vision time very soon. There will be a podcast coming out. Haven't heard that song for a long time.
I hear it a lot because, sometimes
when I on in the car.
Well, sometimes
you listen to your Supertramp, by the way.
I've listened to the Supertramp. Brilliant, brilliant. Thank you very much indeed to the person who sent it to me. It was very nice of you. What I was going to say was sometimes I tire of your whining voice when I leave here. Well,
it's nice.
Mostly when I leave it on a Friday morning, I might head straight down to the coast.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got a couple of hours in the car, or an hour and a half in the car.
Right.
And I'll listen to you for about 10 minutes, and I'll decide I've had enough of this.
Really?
So I then...
That's charming, isn't it?
Well, I'm
That's
not...
really charming.
No, I mean...
So if there was something that I wanted to raise with you, say, the following week, and say, as we were talking about on Friday on the show, you wouldn't know.
Well, unless
Because
you
you
talk
switched
to me
it off.
about it, it's not relevant to me, is it, really?
Is that right?
You're droning onto somebody else, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So,
Mm.
and also, remember that if you go to a plumber's house,
Yeah.
the tap usually leaks. And if you go to...
What?
Yes, and if you go to...
When was the last time you were in a plumber's house?
If you go to a tiler's
When
house...
was the last time you were in a plumber's
If you
house?
go to a tiler's house, there's usually a few cracked tiles on
Rubbish.
the wall, OK?
Absolute rubbish.
And if you, if you go to the house of a decorator...
Well, if you go to your
it's usually
house...
in poor state.
If I go to your house,
yeah.
there's a load of tiles missing because there's
No.
a leak coming in, right?
Oh, well, that's not in the house, that's in the corridor.
There's some guy around the back chopping down a load
Yeah.
of trees.
Yeah, that's right, yeah, there was, yeah.
You know,
I know.
there's people putting speed bumps into the street outside. Somebody else put up some scaffolding.
Honestly, modern life's a
That's
nightmare.
all I know. And there's an infestation of ladybirds.
I tell you what, honestly, owning property can be a right nightmare.
Have they got to the bottom of that yet, by the way?
The people were on the roof as
Yeah.
I speak
Have they
this
found- have
afternoon.
they found it?
Well, I hope so, because
they've been looking for
I don't
weeks
care
now.
if they replace the roof, you know, or as long as it doesn't leak again.
Yeah.
Now, listen, the reason we're playing that...
Yeah.
No, sorry, so to finish my story...
Yeah.
So sometimes I leave here on a Friday
Uh-huh.
morning, go down the coast.
Right.
I listen to 10 minutes of yourself,
Yeah.
and then I get fed up.
Really?
And I turn to a channel called Smooth Radio.
Really?
Which is music.
Oh, that's nice of you.
But soon I'll be able
I'm sure
to...
the management here will be delighted that you're giving him a free plug.
No, soon I'll be able to tune to Virgin Radio.
Yeah, you will.
Because that's something that we're going to be launching in the new year, isn't
That's
it?
right. I've got a bit of a problem
Yeah.
actually with my radio in the car. For some reason, in the
Yes.
past 3 days, just all of this week,
Yes.
there's terrible interference on the AM channel.
Is there?
Yeah.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
Well, my new motor has got the old classic DAB radio.
Yeah.
And that will be tuned to Virgin.
Well, I may
because
have to get
that's-
one of those, I
That's,
think.
Yeah, that's where all our music will come from in the
Yeah.
future, isn't it? So that's great. So anyway, one of the records that's played from the 70s, 80s and all that kind of stuff is Baker Street,
Yes.
OK? Jerry Rafferty.
Yes.
He's dead now, isn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah, he used to like a drink, Jerry.
Yeah, he did.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
In Ibiza. And when you've got a huge white staccato house in
What kind of house?
Staccato, isn't it? What's your problem? What's the problem?
Staccato house.
Well, it is, isn't it? That's
yeah,
what it's called.
it's a staccato house. Yeah, you're right.
So why are you laughing?
No, because it's not a staccato house, a stucco house.
Stucco, that's it. Yeah, that's what I knew it was.
Staccato
Yeah.
is a musical term.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So
when you pluck
anyway,
the violin.
Anyway, shut up, will you? The white stucco house.
White
right?
staccato house, yeah.
And you've got endless amounts of money, and you like a drink,
Yeah.
and the booze is very, very cheap in Ibiza, you tend to overindulge a bit, you know what I mean?
Can be the case.
And I think that did contribute to his early demise. But the point is, he wrote Baker Street, one of the most famous pop songs of all time, and the reason we played that is because the connection is that in a recent poll, which I came across, the Bakewell tart has been voted as Britain's favourite cake.
Is that right?
How about that?
Bakewell tarts are very tasty, I must say.
I think they're very tasty.
Yeah.
I love the almond bit in them, don't you?
Almonds.
But you don't get them very often, do you? I don't see a Bakewell tart around much.
Well, it depends where you go. I mean, you can buy boxes of them in any supermarket if you like.
Can you?
Yeah.
I don't see them.
You have to go to the cake aisle.
Right, well, hang on, I do. I like Madeira cake.
Yeah.
Do you like Madeira cake?
Yeah, sometimes.
My mum used to make Madeira cake.
I don't really buy a lot of cake.
My mum used to make Madeira cake.
I
It's lovely.
prefer homemade baked cake.
Now, the one I could eat forever, well, there's several I could eat forever.
Battenberg cake.
Battenberg I could eat forever.
Yeah.
I love it. But I do worry about ingesting all the marzipan that's wrapped around a Battenberg cake. It's very heavy going
very
and all
heavy,
that.
yeah.
So I take that off sometimes, just eat the cake. 'Cause
Okay.
It's like fairy cake.
Well,
then, isn't
remember
it?
that there was a couple of weeks ago my kids made a
Yeah.
Battenberg cake, but
Yeah.
it was so good they ate it.
Oh, that's
So
right, they ate it, yeah.
They didn't bring it, but they might make another one for you.
Okay. But the one that I could eat forever, well, actually, there's 2 or 3 I could eat forever. But the one that really I would jump into a swimming pool full of is lemon drizzle.
Lemon drizzle
cake.
cake.
I love the lemon
Yeah.
drizzle. I absolutely adore lemon drizzle cake. I really
How much
do.
cake would you say you eat on a weekly basis?
None. I don't eat
What do
any.
you mean, none?
No, I don't. I starve myself of cake.
Why?
Well, because the old ticket, only 1/3 of it works.
Is that right?
And I'm back into a very healthy exercise
Yeah.
routine. The other one.
Now, I'll tell you something that you might see as
Yeah.
we get closer to Christmas.
Yes.
And I actually tried it and thought it was a bit over the top. Was
Right.
my local bakery down in Sussex, but also in some of the places up here.
Yeah.
They did a Bakewell tart mince pie.
Oh, no.
Which
No.
was so sweet.
I'm-
Literally, you felt like you were going to have to kind of put yourself through some kind of regimen after eating it.
I'm not big on mince pies.
You don't
I
like
don't
mince
mind
pies?
one at Christmas with a bit of brandy sauce and
Do
white
you know, I had
sauce.
one last weekend because somebody
Right.
brought a box of mince pies round.
Why?
Just as a present, And so the kids were
Oh,
quite keen.
pre-Christmas present, sort of thing.
Well, just because people, when they come to your house, they bring a present.
Do they?
I know you don't go to people's houses apart from your
No, I
sisters.
don't, no. Yeah.
You know,
Well,
you
I-
send a thank you note, but you don't take a present.
I do.
What do you take?
Always 6 bottles of wine.
6 bottles, which you then proceed to drink.
Yes, and...
It's not really a present for her then, is it?
Well, I usually take 6 and drink 8. Oh,
Do you,
sorry,
take,
that's a
do you
joke.
take flowers?
Yeah, sometimes take
From
flowers.
the garage?
No.
From the local
no,
BP?
No, I get them from a flower shop outside the station. It's a very nice flower shop as well. And sometimes I take a joint of meat.
A joint of meat?
Yes. Like a rolled shoulder. You know what I mean?
What, one of those white lamb things?
Yes, that's right, yeah. But anyway, listen, getting back to the cake, guess what...
I'm amazed you don't eat any more cake.
I don't eat cake anymore, I don't, honestly.
Don't you want to know what I did with the mince pie?
Well, you ate it, presumably.
Well, yeah, but how did I eat it?
I reckon you put it in a bowl and put some custard on it.
No.
No?
I had it with fresh cream.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite
It's
good.
my favourite way to eat
Yeah,
it.
I don't mind that, but it's all very fattening, you see. But anyway, guess what the Bakewell tart replaced as last year's favourite cake?
What?
Now, this will really amaze you.
Go on.
It's a northern delicacy.
Yeah.
It's called the Eccles cake.
The Eccles cake, I like those.
Yeah.
Well, they've got mincemeat,
Yeah,
haven't they?
yeah, of course they have, yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, my kids actually really like those.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm quite
so,
partial
but
to
this
one
year,
of
the
those as
Eccles cake was pushed into second place.
Yeah.
The English muffin came third.
You see, that to me is a bit of an abomination, the word English muffin.
So, I agree.
Because in America, they used to sell English muffins, right?
Yeah.
And everyone, you and I, would, and everybody else who was English would go, you know, what the hell's this? We don't eat these in England. You never seen an English muffin in my life.
The first time I ever had an English muffin was in America. They didn't exist in this country.
No.
But an English muffin, Mike, with blueberries in it. Oh, it's the most sumptuous cake in the world.
Yeah, but that's a different thing altogether.
Oh, it's
But an
not.
English
Yeah.
muffin, as it's now called
Yeah.
in America, and the kind of thing that you get in, say, McDonald's,
Yeah.
you get an Egg McMuffin.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that you can now buy here.
Yeah.
But it's not, I don't know why they call it an English muffin.
I love the blueberry muffin.
Blueberry muffins are quite good for you.
Or cherry muffin. Right, let me
read you a couple of tweets.
Right,
here.
okay.
It's Eton is nothing, says Rep, compared to the King's School Chester. That's where I wanted to go. I just joined Mensa in the end.
Well, I could have joined Mensa, but I just thought they're a bunch of prats, really, Mensa. You know, they go around telling everybody how bright they are, and they may be bright, but they've got no common sense.
Well, I've never met anyone that claims to be in Mensa
Have you?
who is worth kind of,
I
asking
agree.
a question of.
I
But that's
agree.
another story. Maybe we'll give you a Mensa quiz one of these
Yeah,
days.
could do, yeah.
How about this from FC, who says, how about this for Porky Lyrics? I won't dance to your tune or jump through your hoops. I'll put minced beef in my vegetable soup. It's a bit of a rap, that, isn't it?
A bit of a rap, yeah, but a bit of a nonsensical rap, if you see what I mean. Listen, I want to ask you this.
Go on.
What do you think of people who wear slippers in the street?
What?
I think they're disgusting.
Why would you wear slippers in the street?
Well, I'll tell you why.
Well, you've got outdoor slippers, though, haven't you?
I've got outdoor slippers, yeah.
You don't wear them in the street.
Well, if you know when I used to drive the old Corona pop wagon, you know, when I was about 18.
you told me about it,
I was
yeah.
18. I used to go around these
Yeah.
housing estates, and I
Yeah.
was always on the lookout, you know, for the old, you know what I mean?
The what? Why are you winking?
The opportunity.
The opportunity to do what?
Well, you know, loads of women used to come up to the pop wagon and buy loads of pop.
Did they?
And
Do you think they were after something else?
Well, sometimes they were in sort of negligees and things,
Really?
you know, because they just got up and all that kind of stuff. I was going around
Well, a bit
early.
like the milkman scenario.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a bit like the milkman
Did you ever
scenario.
take advantage of any of these women?
Well, yes and no, sort of thing.
How do you mean?
Yes well, it's a bit too complicated to go into. Yeah. But look, the reason, but they used to come out in their slippers. But a lot of women have slippers which are like made of cork rather than.
You're thinking of mule,
material.
aren't you?
Mule. That's right. Yeah. But I saw a picture today. You won't believe this in a national newspaper. Of Jon Snow, who's not one of my favourite people anyway.
Yeah, you've already said that.
Yeah, at the age of whatever he is, 67 or something like that.
Something like that.
He walked out into the street in a pair of tartan slippers.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know.
Was he wearing a dressing gown?
No. Yeah, I'll show you the picture. I've got it here. So he's got like cord trousers on.
Oh, yeah.
So all those lefties wear cords for some unknown reason. I
Are
don't
you
know.
sure they're slippers?
Yeah.
I don't think they are.
Yeah, he has. He's got a pair of slippers on. And I thought, well, how ridiculous to walk out in the street. Because the thing is, if you walk out into the street in your slippers, then you should not walk back into your house in your slippers.
Well, maybe
because
he
you've
forgot.
taken all sorts of germs off the pavement
Well, maybe
into
he
your
forgot.
house.
Maybe he forgot to put shoes on.
Well, I mean, in that case, you're accusing him of being senile. And I
Not
don't
at
think
all.
he's senile. I think he's got still a very fertile brain. But I just couldn't bear that, you know, to wear your slippers in the street. It's disgusting.
Shocking.
I also think it's disgusting to walk into your house and not take your shoes off because of all the germs on the bottom of your shoes will be transferred into
You're
your
obsessed
carpets.
with germs, aren't you?
Well, I just don't think it's a good idea.
All right.
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll talk about that some more coming up very shortly. But next, though, it's time for Porky Vision.
Absolutely.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
A terrific performance.
Turn of pace and eye for goal.
Shout about it.
Talk Sport.
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. It is that time of the week, of course. That music can only mean one thing. It's time for the best TV review this side of, I wouldn't say Galatasaray, perhaps. It's Porky Vision.
Yes.
What have you got for us this week, Mr. Parry?
Porky Vision, Dr. Foster again
Yes.
tonight. You know, brilliant.
Yeah.
Saran
I saw a
Jones.
trailer for it tonight,
Did you?
actually. Yeah, first time I've actually seen anything to do with it.
Well,
apart
it's
from
episode
your
4,
words.
and
Yeah.
I mean, it's just brilliant, you know what I mean? And it's exotic and erotic.
Is it?
Oh, yes.
Lots of
Well,
Rogerisation.
Lots of Rogerisation, because Saran Jones is such a sexy lady, you see what I mean?
But she's now still estranged from the husband, presumably. Right? Or has he come back?
No, she's taken him back,
Right.
but she never threw him out in the first place.
Okay.
She was very clever.
Right.
She played mind games with him, so he didn't really know what she was up to and all this. And
But she hasn't taken him back into her bed, though, has she?
Yes.
Has she?
She went over the road and Rogerised the neighbour to get hold of all the accounts of the business because she thought things weren't going well, found out that things aren't going well.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, the Rogerisation gets confusing because the husband's mistress is now pregnant, of
Right,
course,
oh
you
dear.
know,
Right.
and he's having to sort of cope with that, and she's thinking, well, is it worth wasting my marriage and all that? But anyway, that's got to conclude next week, so I'll give you the conclusion next week. Now, what I want to talk about is Doc Martin.
Okay.
Because he's such a horrible person.
Is he?
He's an absolute curmudgeonly loser, in my
But
view.
isn't that meant to be part of his sort of charm, if you like?
No. There's no charm in it at all. In fact, I'm not going to watch it anymore.
Aren't you?
I'm so fed up with his blatantly rude, arrogant. And you know what? The plot is flawed. He's supposed to be a doctor who went off to Cornwall, right, because he had an aversion to blood, and being a doctor and having an aversion to blood...
That's daft, isn't it?
Well, particularly as he was a surgeon in London, so he went off to be a GP in Cornwall.
Right.
Well, hang on. When did he get this aversion to blood? He must have got it when he was a kid and cut his knee or something like that.
Yeah, or maybe he just got it because he was a doctor in London.
So why did he go and study medicine? So it's a load of rubbish, and I'm not watching any more of it, so don't bother asking me about Doc Martin anymore. The one reason I watched it in the first place was I thought the scenery is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the village.
It's down in Cornwall, isn't it?
Eh?
Is it Cornwall?
Yeah, it's down in Cornwall. St Isaac's is
St.
the
Isaac's,
real
or
name
Port
of the
Isaac,
place.
no? Port Isaac, no?
Port Isaac.
Yeah.
Port Isaac is the real name of the place, but it's
Yeah.
called something else in. But I reminded myself why I couldn't live in a village when I see it, because you walk around every corner, you see somebody you know.
Yeah.
You go into a local pub, not that he goes into pubs, but all the locals are in there.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. I
No.
once thought about moving to St Ives, and that was years ago when St Ives was like St Ives, but now it's not. It's like a metropolitan elite type place.
It's a massive sort of London
it
sort of
is,
outpost,
it is,
isn't it?
and you wouldn't want to go there in the first place.
Ever
So-
since David Cameron started going there, actually.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's rubbish. Now, the other one is... what is the other one? Sided with Rosie this week. Utter rubbish,
Oh, yeah, I
right?
saw you tweeting out about
Yeah,
that.
now, listen, let me tell you.
No,
what-
was that a movie?
No, it's supposed to be an adaptation of the book.
Okay.
But the problem is, it's written from the first-person perspective.
Yeah.
So Laurie Lee, who wrote the book,
Yeah.
is actually narrating the TV show.
Oh, okay.
But it's not Laurie Lee, because he died a
Well, it
long
wouldn't
time
be
ago.
him, no.
It's a guy pretending to be Laurie Lee.
Right.
And first of all, he's talking about, a bit of Rogerisation in the cornfields with the local milking wench.
Yeah, right.
And then he's talking about, things that happened in his childhood, and then leaping
So
over.
it goes back. Have you read the book? Do you know the story?
No,
Right.
do you?
But not particularly.
No. And then it goes to another part of his life, and it all goes wrong. But alternatively, it's either Rogerisation in the cornfield, or his auntie's just died. Or some other stiff suddenly appears, stiff being like a dead person,
Yes.
who is, for some unknown reason, expired. It was all very confusing and rubbish. And what I didn't like about it was, again, the idea of the English village. I don't want to grow up in an English village anymore. Do you know where the best
It was all set down in Stroud, apparently.
Stroud in Gloucestershire. Yeah, but it's supposed to have been in Somerset.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
where Sided with Rosie was
Right.
set. Oh, excuse me.
You're right.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Now, what I was going to say to you was, again, would you want to live in a village where everybody around you is either dying or...
Well, I did live in a village.
Getting rogered in the...
Do you know the village that I lived in Wiltshire?
In the cornfields,
Yeah,
what?
well, the village that I lived in Wiltshire also contained the home of the... Do you remember the coughing major in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Yes, I do, yes.
He lived in the same village.
He was first convicted and then cleared of corruption, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Or the other way around?
No, well, the only reason I discovered this was that, the story was kind of going. I took the kids to school one day. I came back, and all the people that I knew who were like Fleet Street hacks were all hanging around in my high street.
I see, waiting for this guy, yeah.
And I pulled up and I saw our friend Alan Reese, funnily enough.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I was like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's the old, the coughing major lives here.
The galloping major,
and I was like, get out of my street,
Yeah,
It was
absolutely.
horrendous. But yeah, it was very funny.
Absolutely. Now, the other one I've been watching again, of course, is Coronation Street.
Yes.
Now, poor old Liz in Coronation Street used to be top of the FMP
When
list.
you say poor old Liz,
Yeah.
isn't she the one that's been fingered?
No, that's Tracy.
Oh, that was Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy.
Okay.
Forget about that.
Right.
Yeah. Although it's come to a head now with a murder and all that, but I'll tell you about that next week. The Liz situation is tragic because, and I'm talking about the fictional character now, okay, not the real person.
Yeah.
Who's Bev Callard.
Beverly Callard, yeah.
Is the real person.
Yeah,
But forget about that.
Yeah.
She plays this wonderful character called Liz McDonald.
Okay.
And Liz continually gets let down by men who just really disappoint her.
Yeah.
I mean, her last boyfriend, right, who's a huge hulk of a man, you know, used to go around knocking people about and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
He tried to swindle her out of half of the pub.
Yeah.
By buying it,
Surreptitiously.
Surreptitiously through a sort of a cover company and all that kind of stuff.
Shell company.
Yeah, shell company.
Yeah,
It sounds it. So she had to fall out with him and throw him out. Then she took back a guy called Lloyd, who she'd been a girlfriend to Lloyd before.
Yeah.
And by the way, she's a bit flirty, old Liz. You know, she meets someone in a bar, and next thing you see, they're tripping off upstairs.
Oh dear.
Which is sign language in Coronation Street for Rogerisation.
Yeah, they don't really do that, do they? Because it's been before the watershed.
Yeah. You know, you see them heading up the stairs.
Well, what about when you go back to Cider with Rosie? Is that a series then? Is that something that's on every week? So is that something we should be watching?
I'm not sure.
All right, okay.
Not sure if there's another one, is there?
But I mean, if it is a series, would you say it's worth watching?
No, it's all rubbish. And the other, just let me finish with Liz. And so Liz then takes Lloyd back. Lloyd then actually finds out that his former girlfriend has just become pregnant. So Lloyd's back off down the road as well. So this leaves Liz again. Mind you, Liz's dress sense is so appalling.
Is it?
Oh, it's just ridiculous. You know, she's a woman of a certain age now, wears clothes which are far too tight, far too short, far too garish in colour.
Mutton dressed as lamb.
Yeah, very much mutton dressed as lamb.
Yeah.
And has disappeared off the FMP list forever because I'm afraid she's become a bit of a joke.
Yes. That's unfortunate, really, isn't it?
Still a nice person.
Yeah. Because I thought once you were on the FMP list, you never looked.
No, mate. There's a sell-by date, believe me, on the FMP list.
Oh, dear.
And she's had some plastic stuff done. I'm certain of that. Yeah, I'm certain of that.
Well, you're talking about the actress now.
I'm talking about the character. I'm talking about the character.
The character, not the real person.
Not the real person. The real person, I'm sure, is a very nice person.
Okay.
And all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
But on Cider with Rosie, the other thing is, they all spoke like this, you know.
Well, it's meant to be Somerset.
When I was a boy, I used to deliver the milk, you know, and I used to take.
Is this
it
the
round
milking wench you're talking about?
Yeah, the milking wench. You know, like they'll speak the same.
Got a deep voice.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they all actually. I started laughing at one point because I thought this lot should all get together and form the 19th century version of the Wurzels.
Yeah.
I am a cider drinker.
What about Downton Abbey, your favourite show?
Well, Downton Abbey's all right. I'll tell you about that in a minute. The show that really impressed me this week is this one.
Okay.
It was called The A6 Murder, right?
And that's right up your street, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
You like a bit of death and mayhem.
Well, I like great stories because, of course, you know, we've been immersed in them. But do you know what was brilliant about the A6 Murder?
No, what was
which
brilliant
was shown on a TV station called London Live, by the way. And this amazed me because I thought I knew everything about the character I'm going to tell you about.
So was this a documentary then?
It was a documentary, and it was trying to prove.
What are you doing watching London Live?
Well, I saw this advertised and I thought that's interesting.
Isn't this the Evening Standard channel or something?
I think it probably is, yeah. But anyway, guess why it turned out to be the best programme of the week?
How? Why?
John Lennon and Yoko Ono organised a protest movement that Hanratty, the man who was James Hanratty, the man who was hanged in 1962.
Last man to be hanged, right?
Yeah, for the murder, rape and attempted murder, was innocent. And Lennon said the people who executed Hanratty are the same people who are running guns to South Africa, killing black people in the streets, and there was a widespread belief that Hanratty was the victim of a miscarriage of justice.
Yeah, there was a widespread belief, but nobody was ever really able to prove it, were they?
And a film still available to watch, and they showed a bit of it, right?
Yeah.
Still available to watch online, was made by Lennon to contest the Hanratty verdict, right?
Yeah. It was never really solved, that murder, was it?
Well, the striding opposing views, because I got this from the narrative of the film, of Hanratty's... Sorry, what's your problem?
You're just reading from your notes now, aren't
No,
you?
I'm reading from my notes, yes. The strident opposing views of Hanratty's guilt are presented in this documentary, which asks who was responsible for the murder of physicist Michael Gregston. What's your problem?
It sounds just like the way you write.
Hang on. And the rape and a multiple shooting of Valerie Story. I couldn't understand that, because Valerie Story was not exactly Brigitte Bardot.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Remember seeing pictures of her?
I remember Brigitte Bardot,
which has been dead many years ago.
Brigitte Bardot's not dead.
No, Valerie Story. I don't know why. Sadly, she became a victim of some nutter, and they said it was James Hanratty. But John Lennon didn't think it was.
Right, okay.
Now, both criminologists, right, who've investigated it, and Michael Hanratty, the brother of the convicted murderer, have argued with conviction.
They have.
As to why their
But
view
it's never
is...
really been established whether he was the right conviction or not, has it? That's the point.
Well...
Nobody's actually, struck the conviction off or said that it was a mistake.
Well, it says here in my notes... nobody has ever proved with conviction as to why their view is the only acceptable version of events.
That's what I just said.
Although a later revelation proves conclusive to one argument, but I'm not sure which one that is. But anyway, it also had footage of John Lennon and Yoko on a march.
You just told us that.
I know.
You've already read that bit of your notes.
To protest Hanratty's innocence, in which John Lennon carried a banner which said Britain murdered Hanratty.
Yeah.
So that's my programme of the week.
Is it?
That is my programme of the week.
John Lennon was in it?
Well, not necessarily, but I mean, it's very interesting, and it was a
Did you draw any conclusion from whether Hanratty was guilty or innocent then?
I think Hanratty probably did it.
Yeah.
But
so Lennon was wrong then.
Eh?
So Lennon was wrong.
Well, Lennon wasn't wrong about much, was he? But
he was wrong about quite a lot, actually.
But no, he wasn't. He wasn't wrong about much. But I have to forgive Lennon, because the other thing is that
you said the other week that he's the closest thing to the Son of God that you can think of.
Well, I honestly believe that man had some views which were quite extraordinary in the way that he came to their conclusions, and his thinking pattern was quite extraordinary, extraordinary. So I just wanted everybody to know that, okay? And also, I watched a bit of Doctor in the House again this week.
What about Downton Abbey? I keep asking about Downton Abbey.
Downton's good, okay?
Yeah.
But the problem with Downton is that it was all very much sort of a bit biological this week.
Was it?
Excuse me. Lady Mary's maid, can't have a baby.
Yeah.
So she took her to see the gynaecologist in London.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid that all got a bit, what's the word of a...
It's too graphic for you.
What's the name of a doctor who looks after ladies who have...
Well, you said a gynaecologist.
A gynaecologist, I said that, did I? Okay. So it got a bit gynecological, if you see what I mean.
Gynecological,
yeah. And,
you don't want that.
And, well, no, I mean, obviously, you have to cope with these sort of things. But I prefer it, really, when it's all about... the estate breaking up and people worrying about their jobs and all this kind of stuff. It's basically watching the British Empire collapse in front of our very eyes. Yeah. And it's hard to behold for a man like me who believes the British Empire was the greatest establishment the world's ever been fortunate enough to sustain.
Yes.
Well, since the Roman Empire, anyway. I think the Roman Empire was better, actually.
How tragic.
But the British Empire took over, and now both empires are kaput.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the next empire... The next empire will be the Chinese Empire.
Empire of the Sun.
The Empire of the Sun, and it'll be full of Ming dynasties and all that kind of stuff. That's what we've got to look forward to.
Okay.
The American Empire's not going to be around for much longer.
No,
Spanish will be the main language in America within 20 years. Do you know that?
What?
Spanish.
Spanish Empire.
No, the Spanish language, Spanish, will be the predominant language in America within 20 years.
Yeah, well, possibly.
Yeah.
Time magazine said that ages ago.
Well, I don't care what Time magazine said. I've done my research, and I'm telling you that's what's going to happen.
Well, they did a cover story in about 1989 saying that by 2040... that the English language will be subjugated by Hispanic and Spanish language.
Well, I told you
by
that,
2040.
I told you that.
Yeah. Have you finished now?
It's like French in Canada, isn't it? Nobody knows whether to speak English or French in Canada anymore.
That's not true. It's only in Quebec they speak French.
No, they don't. It's all over Canada.
No, it's not.
When I nearly had my arm torn off by a polar bear in Manitoba, they were speaking French up there, I'm telling you.
What, the polar bears were?
Well, no.
Have you seen the time?
The warning against the polar bears was, what do they shout? Achtung, Achtung? No, that's German.
That's German.
Yeah. But what's the French equivalent? Encore, encore, or something like that.
Yeah,
What
that
is
wouldn't be it. No.
What is it? Oh, something like that. I don't know.
Attention.
Attention, attention. Attention, pull up.
Attention, have you seen the time?
Attention, attention, pull up.
Look into the light. This is TalkSport.
The BMW i3. It's not just an electric car. It's an electric car that drives like a BMW. Rentals from £299 per month. Discover more at bmw.co.uk/i3. £3,699 initial rental, 36-month hire agreement from BMW Financial Services, subject to status and availability for new vehicles ordered before 31st of December 2015 and registered by 31st of March 2016. UK only, guarantees may be required. Mileage and other conditions apply when you return the vehicle.
Look, I want nothing on the carpet, not a single speck, right?
Yes, sir.
The wife's white carpets stay white or else, got it?
Yes, mister. Sir.
Listen, Hippo carpet protectors are the business on any job. They're quick, easy and fire retardant. And now there's 10% extra free at good trade counters and merchants. Hippo carpet protector. For bigger, better protection. Even from me. That's sir to you.
I could be at home now. Maybe watching telly with the kids. Or I was thinking about going for a pint. Instead, I've punctured my lung and it's slowly filling up with blood. I'm going into cardiac arrest now. Silly place to overtake, really. Still, you live and learn, don't you? Don't you?
Motorcyclists, think. Don't ride too fast.
Transport for London. Every journey matters.
He's got the numbers on the players, the triumphs and defeats. Got the form on the football weekend and the rumors on the streets. Get all the stats and all the facts with his football form report. Stay on the ball on Friday night with Sky Bet and TalkSport.
Get unmissable analysis and expert soccer speculation on all the weekend's big games. Stay on the ball on Kickoff the Players Lounge on TalkSport with Sky Bet, on a mission to make betting better. Visit skybet.com or download the Sky Bet app today.
TalkSport. Honest, diligent and remarkable.
Amazing.
Mike's, there will be a podcast coming out tomorrow night. Of course, it's the Porky Quiz, which is on Henry VIII for some reason this week. I'm not sure why it's on Henry VIII, but that's the subject that has been chosen. And the independent quizmasters are putting the quiz together even as we speak. A couple of tweets to read out to you. Becky says, another fantastic Porky Vision just turns into one large Rogerisation orgy. I'm missing out on so much rumpy-pumpy on TV, she says.
Yeah, why not?
Matt says, I think it's about time we had a Rogerisation alarm to go along with Porky's crime campaign and John Lennon alarm. And Bozza says, does Porky realise Doc Martin isn't a documentary? He's taking it all a bit personal, isn't he?
No, he's just such a, he's a man with no personality, so I think that ruins the whole show.
Well, Winford says this, I think Mike Parry and Doc Martin must be brothers, as he's just described himself down to a T. Now he knows how some of us feel about how he is with you.
I don't think so. He's awfully rude to his patients,
Well,
he
you're
says,
rude to me.
I'm not rude to you at all. He says to his patients, I feel a bit depressed. You're not depressed. Well, I do feel terribly. You're not depressed. I want some antidepressants. You're not having antidepressants. I'll give you cortisone for this or something like that.
Yeah.
He's just got no bedside manner whatsoever. In fact, in the latest one, by the way, him and his wife went to a marriage counsellor, and the marriage counsellor said to her, what exactly is the problem with your relationship with your husband? She said, he's got no social skills whatsoever. Right. He has no caring feelings. He thinks he is so intelligent that he doesn't want to communicate with anybody else in this town who he believes is below his intelligence and treats with contempt.
And you don't see any similarities between him and you?
None whatsoever.
Really? After what you said about living in a little village?
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about a village in some backward area, I think the coast of Cornwall is quite lively, whereas if you lived in a village in the middle of sort of, what did you say, Gloucestershire or something like
Gloucestershire, perhaps where Sided with Rosie was filmed.
That really could be Sided with Rosie territory.
Now, there's a great story in one of the papers this morning.
Yes.
Match.com, would you know, have done a survey of 1,000 people and asked them about the most attractive football fans, right?
Yes,
and apparently the ugliest football fans and the people that they would least like to go out with, according to this, and this is more bad news for Jose Mourinho, are Chelsea fans.
Really?
Yeah. Chelsea number 1, Manchester United number 2, Sunderland number 3.
Well, this is in the League of Ugliness.
It's League of Ugliness.
So Chelsea the ugliest.
Chelsea are ugliest. Second Man United. 3rd Sunderland. 4th Stoke. 5 Tottenham.
Wow.
Everton come in at number 11,
well,
so they're kind of in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah.
And then the best looking apparently come from Bournemouth.
Well, that's a coastal town, and there are lots of very nice-looking ladies in Bournemouth.
Well, I think it's not just about ladies. I think it's about the men as well.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah.
Southampton are the second best-looking. Norwich City, where nobody goes, according to you, are the third best-looking. And Manchester City are the fourth best-looking.
Oh, okay. Now, I've just keyed into this, and I see that they cite as a picture of an ugly fan, David Mello.
Yes.
Now, David Mello, of course, is the former Minister for Fun.
That's right.
What he called himself.
Yeah.
Before he had to give up his political career for Rogerisation.
With Antonio de Sanchez.
Who was put up to it by...
Max Clifford.
Absolutely, who is now...
in prison.
At His Majesty's pleasure.
Indeed, and did he not admit that he made up the whole story about Mello wearing a Chelsea shirt while the Rogerisation was going on?
He admitted it years ago.
Yeah.
The way it was revealed in the sort of a red tabloid paper, which serialised it, was that they got together in this grotty little flat where there was a mattress on the floor. That's how romantic it was, right? It wasn't exactly the suite at the Savoy, was it? You know,
quite.
Grotty little below ground floor flat, mattress in the floor. And as he took his shirt off, I was astonished to see he had his Chelsea football shirt on underneath. I mean, such a ridiculous story. What man ever wears a football shirt underneath his main working shirt anyway?
I mean, I suppose there are people who would do that. I mean, I remember there was a friend of ours, in fact, who you know, who I'm not going to name because he still works in the business, right? But worked with us at the Express.
Yeah.
And one time it was his birthday, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And or maybe it was a leaving do. Or something. Maybe it was a leaving do, actually.
Yeah.
He was going to another paper.
Yeah.
And one of the presents that was presented to him at this leaving do,
yes,
because normally, they give him the front page and they do and all that. They gave him a shirt of his favourite football team with his name on the back of it.
Oh, okay.
And when we then retired at a later time to the Chinese restaurant in Chinatown, which is where we always ended up,
exactly,
until about 4 a.m, he was found comatose, lying down behind the table,
right,
wearing the shirt.
Was this Walker?
No, it was not Walker.
Wasn't it?
No, I told you, don't say the name.
Okay. Well,
no,
we worked with a colleague called Ian Walker, who was a Liverpool
fan.
Away. Wasn't it him?
Well, why are you giving
No. Oh, okay. I wonder who it was then. I'm trying to think.
Well, I'm not going to say his name on air.
Okay, because he went to another paper.
What I'm describing is something that he might not want everybody to know about.
Okay, yeah, all right.
But he basically had too much to drink. And
which club was it?
I'm not going to tell you because you'll get it if I give you the club. I'll tell you later.
Maybe West Ham. Was it West Ham?
No, it was not West Ham.
Arsenal?
I'm not going to just answer random questions.
Arsenal, you see.
I'm not going to answer random questions.
Anyway, the story about David Mello I want to tell you about is that...
Arsenal come in 12th, actually, below Everton. So Arsenal fans are better looking than Everton fans.
I don't think so. But anyway, in the early days of TalkSport, we were still we weren't a totally sports station. And so we tried a lot of people out in the mid-morning slot, people like Degsy, Derek Hatton and that kind of stuff. Well, one of them we tried out was David Mello.
Well, he's now, he does do a radio show now, doesn't he?
He does do a radio show, but in those days, he'd actually just stood down from doing 606, remarkably, as an ex-politician.
You don't have to name all the other stations.
No. Well, I haven't named the station, I've just said the name of the programme, yeah. So anyway, I go off to meet him at is it the Horse Guards Hotel in Westminster?
I don't know.
I think it is the Horse Guards.
Which one? Where is that?
It's used by a load of politicians. It's around the back of St James, I think, or somewhere like that.
No, okay. Don't know.
It's just off the embankment, round about sort of just going up to Trafalgar Square, if you see what I mean.
Right.
So I go and see him.
Is it near the National Liberal Club?
I don't know. I don't know where the National Liberal Club is. Never been there.
Oh, you should go there. It's a lovely building.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, and he was very condescending, and he's got these very thick glasses.
He was quite a condescending guy,
and
wasn't
this
he?
very sort of, false smile. Hello,
I can imagine he would have really loved you.
Yeah. Hello, Michael. Yeah, how are you? Yeah, do sit down. No, would you like a drink? So I had a large gin and tonic or something like that, And then we got talking for about 5 minutes, and he said, "Excuse me, Michael, did you smoke?" And I said, "No, I don't smoke, no." He said, "I only have one cigarette a week." This is David Mello, former cabinet secretary, He said, I only have one cigarette a week. I said, "Oh, right, OK." He said, "And I think I'll have it now." I said, "OK."
But he didn't have any on him.
No, he didn't have any on him. So when I said I didn't smoke, he said, "Could you go and ask somebody for a cigarette for me?" So he expected me. Yeah, we're in the lounge.
I bet you did it as well.
I did.
Yeah.
We were in the lounge and
Did he go to Eton, this guy?
He did go to Eton.
Yeah, there you go. So you would have liked him immediately.
Do you know, I think he
You would
did.
have immediately looked up to him.
No, I'm not. No, I don't think he went to Eton, but he certainly went to either Oxford or Cambridge.
Yeah.
He went to Oxford, because I tell you why. There's a very famous picture of him on University Challenge from one of the, I think it was Cambridge or something like that.
Right.
But anyway, so I had to go and bum this cigarette off somebody, you know.
That's appalling.
And I had to say, look, I'm sorry, it's not for me. I said, chap man over there, so that's David Mello, former cabinet minister,
Yeah.
and he wants a cigarette. So somebody was so impressed, they said, oh, yeah, you can have one of my cigarettes, and gave me 2.
Yeah.
You know, so I said, here, I've got you 2 cigarettes. But anyway, he's a famous Chelsea fan, isn't he?
He is.
And they've got a picture here on this same report that you've just referred to as an ugly, this is terrible, an ugly Manchester United fan, and Manchester fans are the second ugliest, Mick Hucknall.
Well, I mean, I think that's the problem. What they've done is they've based this on a few celebrity fans, and they've found David Mello for Chelsea and Mick Hucknall for Man United. It's not surprising they've come first and second.
Yeah. Now, Mick Hucknall, of course, has got a big problem on December the 5th, hasn't he?
Well, you might say that.
Yeah. And what is the problem?
Well, he's playing in Glasgow the same night we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And our tickets are selling faster than his.
Well, we're playing at the garage, of course.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how big the place is that he's playing. But,
actually, we might be able to get sued for that, because that's probably not wholly accurate.
Yeah.
I would say,
well,
it's
it
a
would be
bit
the
of a
first
joke.
thing you could have got sued for.
I would say it's a bit of a joke that our tickets are selling faster than his, but I have no evidence of that, Mick, and I'm sure that you will be a sellout, obviously, because you're very popular and lots of people come and see you. However, a lot of people will come to see us as well.
Yeah, exactly.
They prefer to listen to the pearls of wisdom that we deliver from the stage rather than your quite successful music.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, I'm glad you got yourself in and out of that cul-de-sac.
I did, yeah.
Tremendous.
I did.
Now, coming up tomorrow, of course,
yeah.
it is the Porky Quiz,
It certainly is.
also there will be Europa League action to talk about, because we've got
Yes.
Monaco Spurs as the live TalkSport commentary game coming up tonight. It's an early kickoff, it's a 6 o'clock kickoff, so don't forget to listen to that on your way in.
Guess what I'm going to do over the weekend to research Henry the... Oh, no, of course it's
Well, do it
tomorrow.
over the weekend if you like, but the quiz is about...
Well, I might do it tomorrow.
Well, I think you should do it tomorrow.
Do you know what I'm going to do?
Well, how about today, even?
Today. Do you know what I'm going to do?
What are you going to do?
I'm going to nip round down in Stockbroke, Surrey. I'm going to nip round to Hampton Court Palace, which was one of Henry's homes.
And what are you going to do there?
I'm going to study his lifestyle.
What, you're going to go in there, are you?
Yeah,
Are you going to pay to go in?
Yeah, I'm going to go.
Do you know how much it costs to go to Hampton Court?
£16.
I think it's a lot more than that.
No, it's not. No.
I think you find it's an awful lot more than that.
No. For one person, it might be. You might have bought a family ticket or something like that.
No, you can't get in anywhere for £16 nowadays.
Yes, you can.
Must be joking.
I think you can.
Maybe into the gardens, not into the actual home itself.
And by the way,
there's a ghost in Hampton Court, you know.
There's a ghost in my house. Who did that? Who
I've
sang
no
that?
idea. That doesn't look it doesn't sound at all
remember
familiar.
that one? You know, there's a ghost in my house. No. There's a ghost I can't hide. Anyway, what I was going to say is one of the reasons I've chosen Henry VIII is because, you know, we've become very fond of Rogerisation on this show.
Yeah.
And with 6 wives...
Well, not just on this show,
with 6 wives and hundreds of mistresses, he is probably Britain's greatest ever Rogeriser.
You think?
Would you not agree?
No, absolutely not.
The only problem was, in those days, when you went rogering around and you were, you know, on it all the time, you normally died of syphilis.
Yeah, and that's kind of what affected him, didn't it?
No, you didn't.
Don't forget to follow the Two Mics, at the Two Mics on Twitter and on YouTube. Just look for Two Mics TV.
If you love the Two Mics podcast, you'll love the live show. Weekday overnights from 1am on DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM and via the TalkSport app. TalkSport, your Premier League station with exclusive commentaries every weekend.
What an absolute corker!
TalkSport.